Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. My background is hundreds of millions of points strong. Chapter 1. In Dixuan Continent, Tianling State, in a mine in Yuanwu Kingdom. Oh my god, you're so bullying. Even if you don't care about transmigrate, you're also trying to destroy my plugin. It's just too much. I saw a young man with scars all over his body kneeling on the ground, looking at the sky with a look of despair on his face and shouting, but the only response he got was a whip. It hurts, it really hurts. Lu Juyuan, what are you barking at? Your workload today has been increased to 200 kilograms. You won't be allowed to eat until you finish digging. The young man raised his head and looked, and saw the supervisor standing aside waving the whip in his hand and saying viciously. Although the young man was angry, he had no choice but to lower his head and continue to work at his hands. His name was Lu Juyuan, and he was originally a good-natured young man on Earth. However, on his way home one day, he was hit by a large truck that ran out of control and flew away more than 10 meters on the spot. Just when he was about to die, Lu Juyuan successfully bound to the system, but the system told him that if he wanted to survive, he must transmigrate to other worlds to collect the original power to heal his injuries. In desperation, Lu Juyuan could only choose to transmigrate. But during the transmigrate, the system seemed to be interfered by some mysterious force, changing the low-level world he was supposed to go to the high-level world of martial arts. And the system seemed to be broken. It kept buzzing after he woke up. No matter how Lu Juyuan called the system, it ignored him. Finally, after a whole day of hard work, Lu Juyuan failed to dig 200 kilograms of coal, and he didn't even have food to eat. Dragging his tired body, Lu Juyuan returned to his residence. It was said to be a residence, but in fact it was almost like a prison. Lu Juyuan was seen lying on the bed with a lifeless expression, and there was a constant gurgling sound in his stomach. Brother Lu, you haven't eaten yet. I have another bun here. Why don't you take it and eat it first? A naive head poked out from one side. Lu Juyuan looked at the other person. After thinking for a while, he found the other person's memory from the original memory. Xiaoti, thank you very much. Hey, Brother Lu, when I first came here, you took care of me so that I could survive. Maybe I can leave here in 20 years. Xiao Tai, who was dressed in swarthy clothes, scratched his head and said that he was still a little kid when he first came to this coal mine. With his parents dead and 2 younger brothers and sisters to take care of, he had no choice but to sell himself. Going to the coal mine, hoping to take good care of his younger brothers and sisters. Well, don't worry, I won't forget you when I take off. Lu Juyuan said seriously, joking, how could he, a transmigrator, live in this small coal mine all his life? In Lu Juyuan's memory, the original body was bought into this dark mine after his family was wiped out. As for the specific location of the mine, even the original body was not clear. After all, he was sold here. The original person has never been outside. If he wanted to go out, he would be beaten severely. Then let me lend you some good words, Brother Lu. Xiao Tai showed his white teeth and said, at only 16 years old, he is already much taller than Lu Juyuan, who was in his 20s, but considering that this is a world of high martial arts, it is normal. After Xiao Tai left, Lu Juyuan lay alone in bed imagining his miserable future. Alas, the system failed, and the original body was destroyed before being sold to the mine by his enemy. It was a perfect start. Tongzi, if you don't give me some strength, I'm really going to burp. Lu Juyuan ate the buns given by Xiao Tai, and the hunger in his stomach dissipated a lot. And just when Lu Juyuan was about to fall asleep, the system's voice rang in his mind. Ding, this system was seriously injured on the way to transmigrate and is about to be destroyed. If you say this, I, Lu Juyuan, will not be sleepy. Staring for a moment, Lu Juyuan sat up from the bed. No, Tongzi, are you kidding me about this? Lu Juyuan said quickly, he is a useless person in this world of high martial arts. If he does not have Tongzi, he will definitely die. He does not believe that he can make a fortune from scratch. After all, there is a gold core level powerful man guarding the gate of the mine. Isn't it a joke that mortals want to escape under the eyes of the gold core powers? But no matter how Lu Juyuan called out, the system ignored him. Finally, Lu Juyuan became desperate. Tongzi, what we are saying is that even if you are destroyed, you must first give me the novice gift package. Without the novice gift package, wouldn't it cost my life? As Lu Juyuan finished speaking, the system finally responded. Ding, we are opening the newbie gift package. Congratulations to the host for getting a handsome guy with good luck, top background, and savvy transcendent. Ding, the 3 major attributes still exist even after the system is destroyed. Without any time to think about it, Lu Juyuan quickly clicked on the 3 major attributes rewarded in the novice gift package to check. Handsome guy is lucky. As a top handsome guy, you have better luck than everyone else in the world. Top background. After encountering an enemy with a deeper background than you will get a more terrifying background than the opponent. Comprehension transcendent. Your understanding is much better than others, and you can usually understand things that others cannot. Ah, I don't seem to be very handsome. Lu Juyuan stroked his face and murmured doubtfully, but the target he was targeting was an immortal cultivator, so naturally he couldn't compare to it. If he were immortal, Lu Juyuan would definitely be the best. If he enters the path of cultivation and undergoes the baptism of qi refining, I am afraid that Lu Juyuan's appearance can be improved several notches. But, does this top-level background really work? Hasn't my background been wiped out? Lu Juyuan couldn't help but sigh when he thought of the situation in which his family was wiped out before, and the system that was on the verge of destruction at this time reminded him thoughtfully. Ding, God-level attributes will randomly generate a background for the host, but it will take a day. I see. Lu Juyuan suddenly realized. As for his understanding of transcendent, Lu Juyuan understood without any explanation that he was probably much better than others in practicing the technique. And right now, ding, the system is destroyed. I wish the host good luck and goodbye. After all, no matter how Lu Juyuan called, the system ignored him. Lu Juyuan was only accompanied by those 3 attribute columns. It's another new day, but surprisingly, Lu Juyuan was not woken up by a whip. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan couldn't help blaming the system. But thinking that the system had fallen, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but sigh, and then got up and prepared for a day's work. Although his luck may be better, Lu Juyuan cannot guarantee that the whip will not fall on him because of his handsomeness. At the same time, at the only exit of the mine, an old man with white hair reaching his waist was seen sitting cross-legged in front of a room with his eyes closed. However, not long after, there was a crisp sound of footsteps coming from outside the mine. The old man opened his eyes and looked around, and saw a maid in green clothes walking in from the door, and behind her, followed a girl wearing a white gauze. Although she couldn't see her true appearance, her temperament could tell. The other party occupies a high position, and his plump figure is enough to tell that the other party's appearance is likely to be astonishing. Seeing the woman, the old man quickly stood up and bowed. Old slave, pay homage to the princess. No gift. The woman raised her hand and said softly, and then the old man raised his head and looked at her curiously. Princess, this mine is a dirty place. A rich man like you shouldn't come here. I wonder why the princess came here today. Is there anything the princess needs to report to you? Before the woman could speak, the maid standing next to her snorted coldly. Just a cold snort made the old man break out in a cold sweat, and then he was greeted by the pressure of a powerful nascent soul stage statue. Okay Zhao King, don't argue with Mr. Shu. I came here this time just to find a few coolies in this mine to work in my princess's mansion. The woman shook her head and said, and then walked straight into the mine. Naturally, the old man did not dare to stop her. How could he, a small gold core monk, dare to stop the princess? After the princess walked in, Mr. Shu shook his head helplessly. The princess is also a poor person. As the most beloved daughter of King Li, she has just awakened the talent of the best Huang rank, and was exiled to this remote place by King Li to become the princess. But even if the princess is exiled here, she is definitely not someone he can provoke. Isn't the maid standing next to the princess just now at the nascent soul stage? Even if a tiger falls in Pingyang, it will never be bullied by a dog. Miss, this mine is extremely dirty. If you want some coolies, you can let the people in the house arrange it. There is no need to come and look for it yourself. In this mine, Zhao King stood beside the princess, shook her head and said in confusion. Xiao Qing, you don't know something. When I was passing by here, I suddenly had a strong premonition in my heart. It felt like there was a great opportunity for me in this mine. The woman shook her head, a trace of exhaustion appeared on her face. Zhao King nodded in understanding, while the woman shook her head with a smile. She is King Li's most beloved daughter, named Li Qingping. However, unlike outside rumors, Li Qingping was not exiled by King Li, but came here on her own initiative. For some reason, perhaps she felt ashamed to be the daughter of King Li. Li Qingping, looking at his brothers and sisters, even the third brother with the least talent has reached the earth level, while his father has the talent of the immortal level. If nothing happens, it is not impossible to become a strong man in the human immortal realm in the future. Let's go, let's take a stroll here, maybe we can find something useful to my princess. After Li Qingping said that, she started walking around the mine, while Zhao King followed Li Qingping closely. His Majesty's order to her was to protect the safety of the young lady. At the same time, the supervisors of the entire mine received the news that the princess came here, and they became nervous for a while, fearing that they had done something wrong and the princess would be punished. At the same time, he also looked at his subordinates, fearing that they would break out and provoke the princess and be implicated. Why is this pick so easy to use today? Different from the extremely difficult situation for others, Lu Juyuan seemed particularly relaxed. He could see the iron pickaxe weighing more than 10 kilograms waving vividly in his hands, and the amount of coal in his bamboo basket was also increasing at a terrifying speed. The land is increasing. This movement naturally attracted the attention of the supervisor. Is this kid on drugs? Why are you digging so hard? Naturally, he, a small monk in the qi refining stage, couldn't tell. At this time, Lu Juyuan was on the verge of creating a martial skill. Hey, miss, look. At this time, Li Qingping and Xiao Qing happened to walk to the edge and saw Lu Juyuan waving the iron pickaxe in his hand. As a nascent soul monk, how could Xiao Qing not see that Lu Juyuan was on the verge of creating martial arts at this time? I saw it. This person may be the person I am looking for, but this is not the time to wake him up. Let's wait until he is finished and then call him. Li Qingping shook her head and couldn't help but pause slightly when she saw Lu Juyuan's face. Even among the mortals she met, Lu Juyuan's face was enough to be considered the best. If we were to enter the path of immortality, would that be enough? Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know that he had been spotted. At this time, he was devoting himself wholeheartedly to the process of creating martial arts. He could feel that the iron pickaxe in his hand might be even more powerful, and the speed of swinging the iron pickaxe also increased. This scene made the supervisor want to stop Lu Juyuan immediately. Lu Juyuan's movements had already affected the work of others. Just when the supervisor was about to take action, a voice floated into his ears, "Let him continue." The supervisor turned his head and looked around. He didn't know when the princess had arrived, but the princess had already given the order. How could he interrupt? It's all under the princess's orders. On the other side, Lu Juyuan, with his continuous efforts, finally reached an extreme speed in swinging the pickaxe. At this time, even the supervisor felt a small pressure from Lu Juyuan. This boy is so terrifying. Phew, so cool, Lu Juyuan shouted with a happy face. Then he remembered that he was still in the mine. He looked up and looked at the other workers who all looked at him in shock. Then he looked at the supervisor and saw the supervisor saying with a complicated look, "The princess invites you. What, do you have anything to do with me?" Lu Juyuan was a little restless. This scene made Li Qingping opposite her cover her mouth and chuckle. "Young master, there is no need to worry. It's just that my princess's palace lacks some servants. I see that you are a good person, and I want to recruit you to my princess's palace as a servant. The treatment will be at least much better than in this mine." Quote. Hearing Li Qingping's words, Lu Juyuan's eyes lit up. The functions provided by this system are so powerful. Can he escape from the sea of bitterness so quickly? Seeing Lu Juyuan frozen in place, Xiao Qing, who was standing aside, thought that Lu Juyuan couldn't believe it after learning about such a great thing, so she looked at Lu Juyuan triumphantly. "Hey kid, my lady is asking you something, do you agree or not?" "Zhao King, don't be reckless." Li Qingping stopped him, Zhao King stopped talking, and Lu Juyuan also realized that if he didn't leave the mine at this time, he would probably be nowhere to be seen next time. Thanks to the princess's kindness, since the princess has spoken, I will naturally not refuse. I will pay my respects to the princess in Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan immediately knelt down and bowed respectfully. After all, those who know the current affairs are heroes. Leaving here is the most important thing right now. After taking Lu Juyuan under his command, Li Qingping immediately felt that the feeling in her body disappeared, and immediately determined that Lu Juyuan was the person who could change her destiny. If you can, master, please follow me and leave now. After Li Qingping said that, she stood up and prepared to leave the mine, while Lu Juyuan scratched his head in embarrassment. Your Majesty, can I take one more person with me? Don't worry, the other party is very capable. If you stay in the mine, you will definitely bury the other party. Lu Juyuan quickly explained that the person he needed to take away was naturally Xiao Tai. He promised the other person that he would not forget the other person after he became famous. Now that I can leave this mine, I naturally have to take the other person with me. It wasn't a big deal anyway, so Li Qingping naturally agreed. Go ahead, we'll wait for you here, but you only have 1 hour. After Li Qingping finished speaking, Lu Juyuan thanked him repeatedly, turned around and ran towards the mine. After Lu Juyuan left, Zhao King leaned close to Li Qingping. Princess, isn't this guy just a bit handsome and has mastered a set of yellow and low-grade martial arts? It doesn't look like he will be of much use to you. Hearing this, Li Qingping just smiled and shook her head. Xiao Qing, you don't understand. I feel extremely strong luck in this person. This person will definitely soar into the sky in the future. All we can do now is follow him in advance. He made good connections. Zhao King scoffed. After all, they were sold into the mines. How could Lu Juyuan be so lucky? Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know what Zhao King and Li Qingping thought of him. After mastering a set of Huang-grade low-grade martial arts, Lu Juyuan could feel that his physical fitness seemed to have improved a lot. After jogging all the way, Lu Juyuan soon found Xiao Tai, who was busy among the crowd. When he came to Xiao Tai's back, Lu Juyuan patted his back. Brother Lu, don't you have to work? Why are you looking for me? Seeing that the supervisor didn't attack Lu Juyuan, Xiao Tai asked curiously. He, Brother Lu, I have been favored by the princess and become a member of the princess's mansion. Didn't I get a quota from the princess and want to take you away with me? I haven't forgotten the promise I made back then. Lu Juyuan raised his head and said. That smile made Xiao Tai feel warm in his heart, but he thought of something again and felt a little embarrassed on his face. Brother Lu, does this make things too difficult for you? After all, he is the princess. Although Xiao Tai knew little about the outside situation, he also knew that the princess's mansion was a real behemoth. Xiao Tai felt a little strange when he thought that Brother Lu had begged the princess for a spot in order to get him out of the mine. Embarrassing. Don't worry, it won't be a problem, it's just a matter of asking. Lu Juyuan said casually. Xiao Tai then put down the things in his hands and prepared to return to the dormitory to take his things and leave with Lu Juyuan. However, the supervisor had already received Zhao King's spiritual message and did not stop Lu Juyuan and his party. Soon Xiao Tai packed up his things and left with Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan was completely empty. He didn't bring anything with him when he came to the mine. When he left, he would naturally have a breath of fresh air. Everything is packed, let's go. After speaking, Li Qingping walked out towards the exit of the mine, with Xiao Qing accompanying her, while Lu Juyuan and Xiao Tai quickly followed. When he came to the exit of the mine, Mr. Shu also noticed Lu Juyuan, who was following Li Qingping. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes, but he did not stop him. He was just a mining slave. If the princess wanted to, he could just take him away. Bar. After Li Qingping and his group left, Mr. Shu couldn't help but shook his head and smiled. I didn't expect that this boy from the Lu family would be taken away by the princess. I don't know what the Chen family will do after they know about this. The family that destroyed the Lu family before was the Chen family. It was the young master of the Chen family, Chen Feng, who brought Lu Juyuan to the mine and gave him a gift to prevent him from letting Lu Juyuan go out. Seeing that Chen Lei, the head of the Chen family, was a gold core, Mr. Shu agreed. However, the person who took Lu Juyuan away now was the princess, so how could he stop him? All we can say is that the Chen family may be in trouble now. Lu Juyuan didn't think so much. When he came outside the mine, a dazzling light illuminated Lu Juyuan and he couldn't help but squint his eyes, as did Xiao Tai beside him. Li Qingping just shook her head when she saw this. It was dark down below the mine, and the mine slaves were not allowed to leave the mine. Naturally, they couldn't accept it for a long time without seeing the light. About 3 minutes later, Lu Juyuan and Xiao Tai finally got used to it, bowed to Li Qingping and said, "Thank you, princess." "Thank you. No need to say more, let's go back to the princess's mansion first." After saying that, he walked back towards the princess's mansion, and Lu Juyuan and Xiao Ti quickly followed after seeing this. But even Zhao King didn't notice that in the dark, a monk wearing a black cloak was hiding in the dark and observing everything here. The location of Li Qingping has been determined, and the next step is to take her away. The mysterious monk murmured, but another voice came from behind him. "Oh, which force are you from that actually dares to have thoughts about Princess Li Qingping?" Hearing this voice, the mysterious monk's expression changed drastically. He was a monk at the soul formation stage. How could someone touch his back quietly? Looking back, I saw a young man leaning on the wall, holding a piece of grass in his mouth and looking at himself casually. This person must be very strong. There was no hesitation. A strange black smoke emitted from the mysterious monk's body and was about to dissipate. But how could the other monk let him leave? "You'd better stay and leave it to the adults." Heaven grabbing hand. I saw the young man transformed into a big hand and directly imprisoned the mysterious monk in place. Feeling the pressure on him, the demonic cultivator couldn't believe it. What? How could there be a powerful person from the void refining stage in this remote place? But he soon understood that this young man was probably sent by King Li to secretly protect Li Qingping. Thinking of this, the mysterious monk did not hesitate to activate his own power. In an instant, a terrifying power burst out from the body of the mysterious monk, and the young man frowned slightly when he saw this. Playing self-destruction. That's fine, it's just that there is a missing message. At first, he did not expect that the mysterious monk would explode himself. By the time he tried to stop it, it was already too late and he could only let the mysterious monk explode himself. However, with his cultivation in the void refining stage, it is still possible to block all the energy of a soul formation's initial self-destruction. On the way back, Zhao King frowned slightly and looked at the alley in the distance, but she didn't see anything. Li Qingping noticed something. Did something happen? It's okay, it's just my misunderstanding. Xiao Qing shook her head and said, while in another alley, the young man was secretly observing Li Qingping and his group, but his attention was attracted by Xiao Tai. This kid is a good candidate for body training. If there is a chance, he can be introduced to the tyrant sect. After observing Xiao Tai, the young man noticed Lu Juyuan, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. This boy is so handsome, and he hasn't entered the path of immortality yet. What if he does? At this moment, Lu Juyuan vaguely felt that someone was spying on him, and then turned to look at another alley. What's wrong? Xiao Ti noticed Lu Juyuan's movements and turned to look curiously, but was stopped by Lu Juyuan. It's okay, my neck is just a little sore. Lu Juyuan shook his head and said, but it made the young man hiding in the dark feel that something was wrong. Why did he feel that this boy had discovered him? But the young man did not think too much, but looked at the mysterious monk who was burned to ashes and couldn't help but shook his head. Sixth Princess, Yumo sect has been at war with His Majesty during this period. Knowing your location, I'm afraid this place will not be quiet. Quote. After saying that, the young man hid in the void and followed Li Qingping and others secretly. After walking for about an hour, Li Qingping and her group returned to the princess's mansion. It's so elegant. It would cost a lot of money to build a house like this. Xiao Tai looked at the princess's mansion and couldn't help but said in a daze, while Xiao Qing saw Xiao Tai's foolish look and couldn't help but said with pride, you have never seen this kind of world, this kind of luxury garden is not yours. This kind of person can have it. Hearing Xiao Qing's words, Xiao Tai also scratched his head in embarrassment, while Lu Juyuan stood beside Xiao Tai and comforted him. Xiao Tai, don't listen to this woman's nonsense. I think you are very likely. This kind of house will never be anything to you in the future. Brother Lu, please stop flattering me. Don't you know how much I weigh? Xiao Tai sighed. Lu Juyuan couldn't say anything else. If Xiao Tai wanted it, wouldn't it be enough to give him a house when he became rich in the future? This kind of house looks very grand, but in the eyes of immortal cultivators, it is nothing at all. Princess, are you back? The moment Li Qingping appeared, the two guards in front of the princess's mansion said respectfully. Well, let Uncle Li come over. I have something to explain to him. Li Qingping said in a calm tone, and the moment Li Qingping finished speaking, an old man appeared in front of her. Princess, do you want to see me for something? The visitor was none other than Uncle Li, one of the guards who followed Li Qingping here. I went to the mine and recruited 2 good servants. You can take them to test their qualifications. After all, they are from my princess's mansion. If they go out without cultivation and are bullied, it will also lose the face of my princess's mansion. Quote. Yes, princess, you two come with me. Uncle Li looked at the 2 people behind Li Qingping and then took them away from here, while Li Qingping looked at Zhao King. Xiao Qing, let's go back and take a rest. After saying that, Li Qingping turned around and returned to her boudoir. Although she had entered the path of immortality, it was just a period of refining her qi, and her schedule was naturally still the same as that of a mortal. It will be much better after the foundation building period. Lu Juyuan and Xiao Tai followed Uncle Li to a room. On the way, Xiao Tai looked at Uncle Li curiously. Grandpa, I wonder where you want to take us. Just follow me. Li Bo said lightly. Xiao Tai saw that the other party didn't seem to want to talk, so he didn't continue to ask questions after he came to the room. Li Bokai turned to look at Lu Juyuan and Xiao Ti, pointed to 2 stones not far away and said, this is a qualification testing stone, but it is a real fairy treasure. You only need to press your hands on it to detect you. Qualifications. Qualifications are divided into 4 levels. Heaven, Earth, Xuanwang, and above the heaven level there are 3 levels, immortal, holy god, but if a genius of that level were born, even an immortal would be moved by it. What about the other piece? Lu Juyuan asked curiously while looking at another stone. This piece is used to detect special physiques. If you have a special physique, the constitution testing stone will emit a glow, and in the glow, the name of the person's special physique will also appear, come out. Li Bo slowly explained that these 2 pieces were real immortal treasures, blessed by heaven. Oh, I see, can we start now? Xiao Ti and Lu Juyuan suddenly realized and asked immediately. Which of you comes first? Li Bo looked at the 2 of them and asked. Lu Juyuan knew his situation, but he didn't have much hope. Xiao Tai, you come first, my foundation has been destroyed long ago. Lu Juyuan shook his head helplessly, wondering if he would be able to obtain any treasures of heaven and earth that would help him regain his talent. After all, a mere mortal only lives 100 years, and after 100 years he will turn into a pile of loess. Okay, brother Lu. Xiao Tai naturally would not reject Lu Juyuan's words, and then strode to the qualification testing stone. Looking at the qualification testing stone in front of him, Xiao Tai couldn't help but become a little nervous. But after looking back and seeing Lu Juyuan's firm eyes, Xiao Ti resolutely pressed his hand on the qualification test stone. However, he was silent for a long time in embarrassment and there was no reaction from the qualification test stone. The naive Xiao Tai thought that the qualification test stone was broken, while Lu Juyuan and Li Bo shook their heads helplessly, which meant that Xiao Tai had no talent in Immortal Dao. Okay, come back, you have no talent in Immortal Dao. Li Bo said coldly that he had seen this kind of thing a lot. The Emperor Zan continent is so big, not all people have the talent to cultivate immortality. In fact, the largest number of mortals in the Emperor Zan continent are still mortals, and those who cultivate immortals are still only 1 in 10,000. Don't I have any immortality? Xiao Tai also said a little absent-mindedly that as for Lu Juyuan's situation, he had already made it clear to Uncle Li, so there was no need for testing. And just when Uncle Li was about to take the 2 of them away, a voice came to Uncle Li's ears, let the younger one have his physical condition tested. Li Burden was stunned for a moment. Is that the adult? Why did he follow? But Li Bo knew that he could only compromise in front of that adult. Wait a minute, you haven't tested your physical fitness yet. When Lu Juyuan and Xiao Ti were about to go out, they were stopped by Uncle Li. Don't I have the qualifications to cultivate immortality? There is no need to test my physical fitness. Xiao Tai said hesitantly, but Li Bo pretended to be profound. You don't know this, right? In the Emperor Zan continent, there is not only one lineage of immortal cultivators, but there are other physiques that do not require the qualifications for cultivating immortals. And those physiques are enough to cultivate to a very good level. Can you live forever? Originally, Xiao Tai had given up, but after hearing Uncle Li's words, hope appeared in his heart. It is possible to live forever, but it requires a very high level. Li Bo nodded and said, it is no exaggeration to say that now his lifespan has reached 1,000 years. In the eyes of mortals, he is a proper old god. I saw Xiao Tai returning to the physical fitness test stone, taking a deep breath and pressing his hand down. In the eyes of Li Bo and Lu Juyuan, they saw Xiao Tai pressing his hand directly. In an instant, the physical fitness test stone began to vibrate, and a moment later a burst of glow erupted. From the glow, they could vaguely see the 3 characters. Diamond body. The moment he saw the diamond body, Li Burden was shocked for a moment. It's actually a diamond body. Even among heaven-level physiques, it can be considered one of the best. Uncle Li, do you know about the diamond body? Lu Juyuan asked in surprise, and Uncle Li looked at Lu Juyuan as if he were looking at a fool. Then he took out a thick book from the storage ring and threw it into Lu Juyuan's hands. There were 4 conspicuous large characters on the book. Complete list of physical fitness. Li Bo, who was on the other side, was talking to himself. It is said that this diamond body is a heaven-level physique created for body refining. After practicing to the top, it can even survive the Mahayana immortal tribulation and become a human immortal, able. Of course, if the diamond body is cultivated properly, it will eventually become a powerful body in the combined stage. Thinking of this, Li Bo's eyes were full of heat when he looked at Xiao Tai. This kind of genius, if you don't build a good relationship now, when will you build a good relationship? As the glow dissipated and Xiao Tai was still standing there dumbly, Li Bo took the lead and rushed in front of Xiao Tai. However, before he could react, he saw a young man appearing in front of Xiao Tai and paused. The whole person was stunned for a while. Xiao Tai was obviously startled by the sudden appearance of the young man, but the young man ignored it. This little friend, my name is Sifang Taoist. He is a genuine monk in the void refining stage. I want to introduce you to the tyrant sect. What do you think? The young man was the Taoist of the 4 directions worshipped by the Yuanwu kingdom, the peak of the void refining stage, but Xiao Tai obviously did not realize what level of existence the void refining stage was, and immediately turned to Lu Juyuan for help. Lu Juyuan was formerly the young master of the Gold Core family. Naturally, he knew how terrifying the boss in the void refining stage was, so he quickly said, Xiao Tai, agree to come down. This matter will be of no harm to you. Tyrant sect Lu Juyuan has also heard about it. It is a force that is not inferior to Yuanwu kingdom. If it were not for the fact that there is no body refining power in Yuanwu kingdom, I am afraid that Taoists from all directions would also want to keep Xiao Tai. After all, Xiao Tai's future achievements will be the final stage of integration. However, considering the current situation of Yuanwu country, it would be better to let Badian sect owe Yuanwu country a favor. With the 2 major forces joining forces, the pressure on Yuanwu country will be much less. As Lu Juyuan spoke, Xiao Tai agreed. However, before agreeing, Xiao Tai thought of one more thing and asked quickly, if I join this tyrant sect, can I bring my younger brothers and sisters with me? Judging from your talent, it is not difficult to bring your dependents. After hearing this, Xiao Tai was completely relieved, looked at Lu Juyuan and said with a smile, Brother Lu, why don't you come and try it too? Seeing that Xiao Tai's experiment was successful, maybe he also has a special physique. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan also felt a little itchy, so he came to the physique test stone and pressed his hand. It's just a pity that the physical fitness test stone didn't react at all. Well, although you can't cultivate immortality, you are not unable to practice martial arts. Martial Dao can even compete with immortals when he reaches the peak of his cultivation. Li Bo comforted him at this time. After all, Lu Juyuan seemed to have a good relationship with Xiao Tai. Competing with an immortal. How powerful an immortal is. The immortal of the Foundation establishment stage. After saying goodbye to Lu Juyuan, Xiao Tai left with Sifang Taoist. Xiao Tai's original name was Li Tai, and he had a younger brother and sister. He took them 2 with him before leaving. Looking at the direction Xiao Tai left, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but sigh. Hey, Xiao Ti, you have found your way to immortality, but you don't know where my way to immortality is. Lu Juyuan sighed, but soon thought of his passivity. If he provokes the enemy, he will generate a background that is more powerful than the enemy. He doesn't know if his background will be able to defying the heavens and changing fate for him. Now that he has the princess's mansion as his backer, he may not be killed immediately if he provokes the enemy, but he can consider summoning a stronger backer. At this time, outside, the Chen family had also received the news. This Lu Juyuan was actually taken away by people from the princess's mansion. The young master of the Chen family, Chen Feng, kept smashing things in his room to vent his anger, but he had no good way at the moment. After all, the Chen family in the princess mansion could not afford to offend, even if they sent out a servant. They can wipe out the Chen family. But Lu Juyuan, your foundation has been destroyed by us, how big of a storm can you cause? Thinking of this, Chen Feng breathed a sigh of relief. When the Lu family was still there, he had been suppressed by Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan broke through to the foundation building stage when he was only 20 years old. Didn't he break through to it 5 years later than Lu Juyuan? The foundation building period, he has always been ridiculed by the people in Qingfeng town. What Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that his passivity had been touched unconsciously. At the old site of the Lu family had long been completely destroyed by the Chen family because of what happened that day, and only the ruins of the Lu family remained. Who is it? Who is it that destroyed my Lu family? An old man stood in front of the ruins with an angry face, and the aura belonging to the nascent soul stage burst out from his body. The huge movement attracted the attention of the entire Qingfeng town. In that direction is the Lu family. Hasn't the Lu family been destroyed by the Chen family? This kind of breath is from the nascent soul stage. That night, everyone in Qingfeng town was shocked by the old man's aura. In the Chen family, Chen Lei, the head of the Chen family, looked into the distance. As a gold core stage, he could naturally feel that the aura was from the nascent soul stage, breath. Such a powerful person can only make good friends, not evil ones. Chen Lei thought secretly in his heart, and then planned to go to the location where the breath came from to get to know the adult, but what Chen Lei didn't realize was that the breath came from the ruins of the Lu family. There are 5 major gold core families in the entire Qingfeng town. If the Lu family had not been destroyed, there would be 6 major families. They are the Chen family, the Li family, the Hou family, the An family and the Peng family. The 5 masters were all in the early stages of gold core, and they knew much more about the aura in the nascent soul stage than ordinary monks. After feeling it, they all rushed towards the location where the aura came from without hesitation. In the princess's mansion, Xiao Qing couldn't help but be surprised after feeling this aura. I didn't expect that there would be such a powerful Yuanying stage monk in Qingfeng town. Zhao Qing could feel that the other person was in the early stage of nascent soul like her, but his aura was much more powerful than hers. If they were to face each other, Zhao Qing would not dare to say that she was her opponent. Mr. Li was also the one who felt this aura. What's wrong, senior? Lu Juyuan looked at the distracted Mr. Li and asked curiously. Mr. Li just calmed down and said, "It's okay. Now let's let you step into the 9th level of the forging realm first." Oh. Lu Juyuan nodded quickly. Although you are not destined to be immortal, there is no need for qualifications in the body forging realm. You only need a certain amount of heavenly materials and earthly treasures to temper your body. After speaking, Mr. Li grabbed Lu Juyuan's hand and his expression became a little strange. Have you entered the 5th level of the body training realm? Although Lu Juyuan had previously entered the foundation building stage, he was abolished by Chen Feng, and his cultivation in the body forging realm was naturally gone. However, when he realized the martial arts previously, Lu Juyuan's physical fitness was greatly improved. Entered the 5th level of the body forging realm. 5th floor. It seems that I accidentally created a low-grade martial arts skill when I was in the mine. Lu Juyuan thought for a while and said, as the creator of martial arts, he naturally knows the grades of martial arts. When Mr. Li heard this, he couldn't help but admired. Well, if it weren't for your lack of immortality, I'm afraid that the talent of creating martial arts with a mortal body would be robbed by all major forces. It's just a pity that without talent, Lu Juyuan can't catch their eyes at all. Although there are the kind of heavenly materials and earthly treasures that can improve the qualifications of cultivating immortals, they will not spend that level of treasures for Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan touched his nose sheepishly. Okay, this is the purification pool. Your body can be tempered in it, allowing you to enter the 9th level of the body training stage. Go in. After speaking, Li Bo directly patted Lu Juyuan and threw him into the purification pool. As he entered the purification pool, Lu Juyuan felt a tingling sensation coming from his body, as if there was a mysterious power in his body. The body keeps wandering around. Cool. For a moment, Lu Juyuan couldn't help groaning. Li Bo just shook his head and left. He was going to investigate the powerful aura of nascent soul that he had felt earlier. Although they were both in the early nascent soul stage, Li Bo could feel that the other party was much more powerful than him. Whether it was for the princess's safety or to get to know the other party, Uncle Li had to investigate. This is the Lu family. Soon, the 5 gold core monks arrived in front of the ruins of the Lu family, and one of them, Chen Lei, said in surprise. The other 4 masters didn't say anything, they just looked at the existence in the distance. This senior, I am Li Shuquan, the head of the Li family in Qingfeng town. I want to get to know my senior. I wonder if I can give him a favor. The head of the Li family, Li Shuquan, stood up and bowed, keeping his posture very low. After all, the strong man in front of him was a powerful person in the nascent soul stage. If someone accidentally made his senior unhappy, then his Li family would be destroyed. Even if it falls, no one will come forward. Seeing Li Shuquan stand up, the other 4 masters secretly cursed the old fox, and then they all stood up and planned to have a good deal with the nascent soul stage powerhouse in front of them. But at this moment, the being slowly turned his head and asked with a cold face, "Do you know who destroyed my Lu family?" As he finished speaking, Chen Lei's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the adult in front of him had something to do with the Lu family? Thinking of this, Chen Lei quietly took a step back so that he could escape at any time. Sir, it was the Chen family that destroyed the Lu family. Hearing the person in front of him speak, Quan Lei quickly stood up and said, then looked at Chen Lei aside and said, Sir, this is Chen Lei, the head of the Chen family. Seeing this scene, Chen Lei secretly screamed, and sure enough, as Quan Lei finished speaking, Chen Lei felt as if he was being targeted by some wild beast, and his body was extremely heavy. But the most important thing now is how to survive. Chen Lei bowed with difficulty and said, Senior, I don't know what the relationship is between you and the Lu family. I really don't know that you know the Lu family, otherwise I would not dare to take action. Quote. Ha ha ha, what's the connection? What's the connection between me and the Lu family? My name is Lu Zan, and Lu Guang is my son. What's the connection between me and the Lu family? Lu Zan raised his head and laughed. Not good. After learning that Lu Zan was Lu Guang's father, Chen Lei knew that his Chen family would undoubtedly be destroyed. All he could do was find ways to escape. As long as he was still alive, the Chen family would have a chance to rise. It's just that Chen Lei seems to have underestimated the terror of the nascent soul stage and overestimated his own strength. Want to run, sky covering palm. When Lu Zan saw Chen Lei trying to escape, he snorted coldly and then raised his left hand to create a huge handprint in the air, blasting directly towards Chen Lei. The terrifying handprint fell directly and turned Chen Lei into blood mist. Under the crushing power of a large realm, Chen Lei had no time to react, and this move also frightened the remaining 4 masters. Is this the terror of nascent soul's power? It is really extremely powerful. The head of the Yin family, Andy, swallowed a mouthful of water and said with lingering fear. He breathed a sigh of relief after seeing that Lu Zan had no further plans to take action. Is my Lu family still alive? Although he knew that the Lu family was most likely to be wiped out, Lu Zan still asked with some hope. Yes, Senior, Lu Guang, fellow Taoist, and an heir were sold to the Longyuan mine. Li Shuquan quickly said after hearing this. After all, they had all heard about this incident. Okay, I still have a grandson still alive. You are Li Shuquan, the head of the Li family, right? Take me to find my grandson, and I will agree to take action for your Li family. Lu Zan laughed and said that his son also left him a grandson, and he regarded it as a thought for himself. Li Shuquan also became excited after hearing this. That was the promise of the nascent soul stage. The lifespan of the nascent soul stage is up to 1,000 years, which means that the senior in front of him can protect the Li family for at least 1,000 years. It cannot be ruled out that this senior has further achievements possible. In any case, the Li family will not be destroyed even without his presence now. Okay, now take me to find my grandson. After Lu Zan said this, he asked Li Shuquan to take him to find Lu Juyuan, but he was stopped by Li Shuquan, who said with a bitter smile, "Senior, you don't know something. This Longyuan mine is a mine under the Yuanwu kingdom. I'm afraid it's closed at this time, so it's not too late to wait until tomorrow." After hearing about Yuanwu kingdom, a trace of fear flashed across Lu Zan's face. After all, King Li was a powerful man at the peak of transcending tribulation, and he was not someone he could match. "If you don't mind, senior, you can go to my Li's house to rest for a while. It won't be too late to go back tomorrow." Li Shuquan quickly sent out the invitation at this time, and Lu Zan thought about it and agreed. "Senior, please come this way." Li Shuquan led Lu Zan away with a proud look on his face. The expression on his face made the other three masters furious, but they were helpless. After all, he was a powerful person at the nascent soul stage, and they were not able to match him. "I'm afraid that Qingfeng town needs to let the Li family be the only one from now on." Quan Lei sighed and said, "That's not necessarily the case. Have you forgotten what the senior said before about the Lu family being his family? Maybe he will establish a Lu family in Qingfeng town." Peng Yuyan thought of something and sneered. After thinking about it, it seemed that it was not impossible. But no matter what, it is much better than the Li family being the only one. Why is it that when everyone is in the early stage of Gold Core, the Li family has to dominate us? After they left, Uncle Li arrived belatedly. He could not help but frown when he felt the strong aura of the place. "I hope you are not here for the princess, otherwise, no matter how powerful you are, you will definitely die." There was a murderous look on Uncle Li's face. He snorted coldly, and then rushed back towards the princess's mansion. Lu Juyuan on the other side was still soaking in the bidet pool. As the bidet pool continued to work, Lu Juyuan's physical condition was also constantly improving. Although the body forging realm cannot use the spiritual power of heaven and earth, its physical quality is far superior to that of transcendent people. When it reaches the first level of the body forging realm, it can lift objects weighing 100 kilograms. Each time it breaks through a level, its strength will increase by 100 kilograms. But humans all have their limits. Without any qualifications, the body forging realm can only break through to the 9th level. Those with some qualifications can break through to the 10th level. Only those who break through to the 11th level can be called geniuses. As for the 12th level, it is called the posture of the Great Emperor, which is rare even in the entire Emperor Zan continent. Unknowingly, Lu Juyuan's cultivation level also successfully broke through to the 9th level of the body forging realm. However, something unexpected happened at this time. It was seen that Lu Juyuan's cultivation level did not stop there, but continued to improve, breakthrough the 10th level of the body forging realm. And it was far from stopping. As Lu Juyuan felt himself shudder, the 11th level of the body training realm was reached. But Lu Juyuan could feel that he seemed to have not reached his limit, so he began to absorb the power in the purification pool with all his strength to help him break through to the 12th level of the body training realm, which was unique among all. At this time, Uncle Li also rushed back. When he came to the bidet, Uncle Li also felt a little surprised. This kid hadn't come out yet. Then he started to explore with his spiritual sense and was even more shocked. He even couldn't help but cursed. "Ms. Ganline, this kid actually wants to break through to the 12th level of the body forging realm. What kind of freak is he? Also, isn't it agreed that people without the qualifications to cultivate immortals cannot reach the realm above the 9th level of the body forging realm?" But no matter what, Li Bo believed that his spiritual consciousness would not deceive him. At the same time, he couldn't help but doubt in his heart. Could it be that there was something wrong with the qualification test stone that day? Or was there something wrong with the physical fitness test stone? It seems that this kid needs to be re-examined after he comes out, but Li Bo believes that even if he does not have the qualifications to cultivate as an immortal, he only needs to spread the word that Lu Juyuan has stepped into the realm above the 10th level of the body forging realm, and I am afraid that it will spread throughout the whole world. It can cause quite a shock in the Emperor's own continent. At this moment, the sky above the princess's mansion changed. Uncle Li could feel a great pressure. He quickly raised his head and looked up, only to see 9 colored clouds appearing in the sky. This is a blessing from heaven. What is the origin of this boy? Actually, heaven has personally blessed this boy. I am afraid that this boy can enter the path of immortality. Li Bo's knowledge was refreshed several times in just a few minutes. It was the first time that he saw someone who could step above the 9th level of the forging realm without the qualifications to cultivate immortals. This was unprecedented. 12 floors of 1. This is the first time I have seen such a terrifying situation of being blessed by heaven. You must know that it is heaven, a terrifying existence that even immortals dare not provoke. The entire Emperor Zon continent is under the control of heaven, which shows how powerful heaven is. In Li Bo's dull eyes, Lu Juyuan's whole body flew up, and he saw the 9 colored clouds being absorbed into Lu Juyuan's body. With the blessing of heaven, Lu Juyuan's foundation that was destroyed by Chen Feng long ago is also recovering at a terrifying speed, and it is even much more terrifying than before. Previously, Lu Juyuan's aptitude for cultivating immortals had reached the highest level of Zon level. If nothing unexpected happened, a nascent soul stage monk would appear in the Lu family. It was precisely because of this that the Chen family took the risk and took action against the Lu family and successfully wiped out the Lu family. But now Lu Juyuan's foundation has not only been restored, but he has also broken through to the more terrifying peak of the heavenly level. For an existence of this level, if nothing unexpected happens, it is not a big problem to break through to the immortal level. It's just that Uncle Li didn't know it yet, so there wasn't much surprise on his face. In the capital of Yuanwu Kingdom, King Li, who was in retreat, opened his eyes and looked into the distance with some shock. That's the breath of heaven. Which lucky person has been blessed by heaven? After thinking for a while, King Li waved his hand, and in an instant 10 monks who were hidden in the black mist appeared in front of King Li. Look in that direction and find the person blessed by heaven. Be sure to let him join our Yuanwu kingdom. No matter what happens, we must make good friends with him. After King Li said that, the 10 invisible monks looked in the direction of Qingfeng town. They were the secret guards under King Li, and they usually dealt with some shady matters for King Li. A person blessed by heaven. I hope you can join my king's Yuanwu kingdom. King Li sighed and said, and then began to retreat again. He could feel the barrier of his own cultivation. He only needed to take one step further to break through to the Mahayana stage and become a true immortal. If he broke through to the Mahayana stage, he could be honored as an immortal. King Li was not the only one who had this idea. Traveling through the magic gate. Jia, the man blessed by heaven appears again. It would be best to find him and win him into my demonic sect. If he doesn't come in, then devour him. The leader of the demonic cultivator, sneered, and below him were densely packed demonic cultivators. At this time, Lu Juyuan didn't know that he had been targeted by many people. At this time, he had successfully absorbed the blessings of heaven, and his own aptitude for cultivating immortals had reached the terrifying level of heaven. You must know that talents of this level can be cultivated as inner disciples or even core disciples even in ordinary holy places, which shows how rare they are. Lu Juyuan didn't know it at this time, because his system had been destroyed and he couldn't see his attribute panel, only the 3 attribute columns. Seeing Uncle Li looking at him with envy, Lu Juyuan asked curiously. What's wrong? Only then did Li Bo tell all this. After hearing about the blessing from heaven, Lu Juyuan couldn't sit still. Is the system so powerful? Even heaven blessed him. However, from Li Bo's sincere eyes, Lu Juyuan believed that the other party would not deceive him. He was just sighing at the power of the system and being a little excited that he was about to enter the path of immortality. Let's go, let's retest your qualifications first. After Li Bo said this, he was going to take Lu Juyuan to retest his qualifications. But what Li Bo didn't expect was that what happened next would definitely shock him again. Although he had expected it, when he saw that Lu Juyuan's talent had really reached the peak of the heaven level, Li Bo was still unavoidably shocked. The same goes for Lu Juyuan. Since your talent has reached the highest level of heaven, it will be a bit difficult for you to stay as a servant in the princess's mansion. I will now ask your majesty to recommend you to enter the royal family to practice, where you can get the best age. Li Bo said without hesitation. Just kidding, that is a genius at the peak of the heaven level. Even King Li is only at the peak of the heaven level, which means that Lu Juyuan's future achievements may not be weaker than King Li. If I can introduce Lu Juyuan to the royal family for cultivation, it is definitely a chance to break through to the soul formation stage. If I make friends with Lu Juyuan, I might even have the opportunity to break through to the void refining stage. You must know that a powerful person in the void refining stage has a lifespan of 10,000 years. As long as he is alive, he has endless possibilities. Royalty. I get it. Lu Juyuan naturally would not refuse. The most important thing at the moment was to find a backer first, but what Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that his grandfather had already found him. Seeing Lu Juyuan enter the room to rest, Li Bo immediately took out the messaging stone and sent Lu Juyuan's message back to the capital. However, the transmission also took time, and King Li might not receive the message until a day later. Li's home. Li Shuquan has already brought Lu Zan to the Li family. Master, are you back? Seeing Li Shuquan come back, housekeeper Li Bingbing stepped forward to say hello, and Li Shuquan said quickly. Hurry up and free up my VIP number 1. A distinguished guest is coming to the house. Li Shuquan hurriedly urged. After following Li Shuquan for a long time, Li Bingbing's ability to see people was naturally not low, and he soon realized that the person standing next to the head of the family was probably a big shot that he could not afford to offend. Thinking of this, Li Bingbing quickly stood up and went down to make arrangements. Sir, please. Li Shuquan stood beside Lu Zan and said flatteringly. Lu Zan said coldly, and then Li Shuquan led him to VIP number 1. After entering, Li Shuquan asked cautiously. Senior Lu, I wonder if you are satisfied with this place. It's okay. Lu Zan nodded. Compared to the desperate situation he was in outside, this place was indeed very good. Then sir, I will go down first. Sir, have a good rest. After saying that, Li Shuquan was about to exit, but Lu Zan stopped him and threw out a porcelain bottle, which Li Shuquan hurriedly caught. My lord, what is this? Li Shuquan didn't dare to open it and asked curiously. This is the 3rd level high-grade mirror-breaking pill. After swallowing it, it will be enough for you to break through a small realm. Lu Zan said nonchalantly that pills of this level were no longer effective for him, so it would be better to give them to Li Shuquan as a reward for him. Thank you, sir. If you need anything from now on, my Li family will definitely do our best for you. After Li Shuquan heard that the pill in his hand was enough to allow him to break through a small realm, he suddenly became excited. If he enters a smaller realm, he can trample the other 3 major families under his feet without relying on Lu Zan's reputation. Okay, let's go down first and take me to find my grandson tomorrow. Lu Zan waved his hand, and Li Shuquan then respectfully withdrew and closed the door. After Li Shuquan left, Lu Zan, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, couldn't help but sigh. Son, when I left the family in order to become stronger, I never thought that something like this would happen to you. But fortunately, I still have a grandson. Please wait for your grandson. Grandpa will bring you back. Back then, Lu Zan was just a monk in the foundation establishment stage. He left Qingfeng town in order to become stronger. It took him several decades to become a powerful master in the nascent soul stage. When he came back, he did not expect that his son and others would be destroyed. But no matter what, I have to find my grandson. It feels so good. Lu Juyuan woke up on the big bed and felt much more comfortable after seeing that the surroundings were no longer in the dark environment of the mine. When Lu Juyuan got up and prepared to go out, he discovered that 2 servants had appeared at his door. This is how the same thing. Lu Juyuan looked at the 2 of them with some confusion. You must be Lu Juyuan. Uncle Li asked us to take care of your life. One of the servants quickly explained, and Lu Juyuan also learned the cause of the matter from the 2 of them. It turned out that he had awakened the best talent at the heaven level. Naturally, it was impossible for a talent of this level to become a servant of the princess's mansion. In addition, he wanted to make friends with Lu Juyuan, so Uncle Li sent 2 servants to take care of Lu Juyuan until King Li sent someone to take Lu Juyuan back. Uncle Li, well, I'll go find him and tell him what he's sending 2 grown men for. Lu Juyuan looked at the 2 strong men in front of him and said helplessly. Then he learned from the 2 men where Uncle Li was now and quickly followed him. What, are you saying that Lu Juyuan, whom the lady brought back yesterday, was blessed by heaven and awakened to the highest level of heaven-level talent? In the hall, Xiao Qing said with a look of disbelief that she could not detect the blessings from heaven. If Uncle Li had not been standing next to Lu Juyuan at that time, he might not have been able to detect the blessings from heaven. Uncle Li, is what you said absolutely true? Hearing this, Li Qingping expressed some disbelief. After all, she had a premonition that Lu Juyuan might be extraordinary, but she did not expect that Lu Juyuan was so extraordinary. From a mortal body to directly breaking through to the 12th level of the body-forging realm, and also receiving blessings from heaven, awakening the best heaven-level talents, is this kind of thing a joke? Princess, I, Li Changsheng, dare to swear by heaven that Lu Juyuan has indeed been blessed by heaven. Li Bo said seriously, in the Emperor Zan continent, ordinary monks would not dare to swear an oath by the law of heaven. After all, if they lie, they will be killed by the law of heaven. As Li Bo made the oath of heaven, Li Qingping and Zhao Qing began to believe it. I really didn't expect that this unlucky guy would actually awaken the ultimate heaven-level talent. Now I'm afraid he will become a being that we all look up to. Zhao Qing said somewhat sourly. After all, although Lu Juyuan is still immortal today, everyone knows that it is only a matter of time before he surpasses them. Even Li Bo and Xiao Qing are just Earth-level talents. Master Lu, you are really becoming more and more mysterious. I don't know if you can let me see a more shocking scene. Li Qingping's eyes flashed with surprise, but fortunately she had a good relationship with Lu Juyuan, so there was no need to attack Lu Juyuan. But at this moment, a carefree voice came from outside the door. Uncle Li, I asked you, can you please not arrange a strong man for me? A woman is fine too. You kid, it's good to arrange someone for you. Why should you be picky? Li Bo turned around and looked at Lu Juyuan, who came in and said helplessly. Then you can't arrange 2 strong men for me. What's the point of a grown man asking 2 strong men to follow me? Lu Juyuan looked at the 2 strong men who were following him inseparably and sighed. You can just have fun, these 2 are gold core monks. Even when your Lu family was still there were not so many gold core monks. Li Bo complained that after hearing this, Lu Juyuan suddenly felt sleepy. If he has 2 gold core level bodyguards to protect him, doesn't it mean that he can provoke others? In addition, he now has the power of Yuanwu Kingdom. If you have a backer, even if you provoke some powerful existence, I am afraid that the first one will go to Yuanwu Kingdom to buy yourself time to develop. Wouldn't it be nice? I don't know why, but seeing the evil expression that suddenly appeared on Lu Juyuan's face, Li Bo felt something bad in his heart. At this time, Li Qingping, who was sitting on the princess's seat, spoke. Since Mr. Lu doesn't want a strong man, Zhao Qing, let Xiaochun Xiaowu follow Mr. Lu to serve him. Li Qingping looked at Xiao Qing beside her and ordered. Yes, miss. After Zhao Qing said this, she sent a message, and not long after, 2 beautiful figures came to the hall. Meet the princess. I saw the 2 people speaking respectfully to Li Qingping. You 2 will be by Mr. Lu's side to serve Mr. Lu from today on. Li Qingping said lightly, while the 2 people looked at Lu Juyuan aside. They were immediately shocked by Lu Juyuan's peerless handsome face, which was astonishing to heaven. Then they heard that the princess actually asked them to serve such a handsome guy. They couldn't make money with their blood. What a loss. Thinking of this, they agreed without hesitation, while Li Qingping looked at Lu Juyuan and slowly explained. The 2 of them are the maids who followed me to Qingfeng town from the capital. Both of them are in the later stages of gold core. It is enough for them to protect you in Qingfeng town. Li Qingping's words made Lu Juyuan a little moved, but considering that the 2 of them were from Yuanwu Kingdom, it was better not to move. Then I, Lu Juyuan, would like to thank the princess here. If the princess needs anything in the future, I, Lu, will definitely do my best. Lu Juyuan also made his promise. Hearing this, Li Qingping smiled slightly. Thank you, Mr. Lu. Is this the Longyuan mine? At dawn, Li Shuquan was brought to Longyuan mine at Luzon's request. Yes, this is the Longyuan mine, a mine under the Yuanwu flag. Seniors, please don't mess around. Li Shuquan warned. After all, Yuanwu Kingdom is a real behemoth, and any servant sent out can make their Li family immortal forever. I naturally know what's going on, so please take me in quickly. Lu Zan urged. In desperation, Li Shuquan could only take Lu Zan in, and just asked Mr. Shu not to give up face. This tea is really good, but the environment is a bit ruined. It was still the same thatched cottage. Mr. Shu leisurely took out a tea set and started drinking tea, but soon he sensed something and looked at the door. Master Li, what kind of wind brings you here? Seeing Li Shuquan coming from outside the mine, Mr. Shu smiled and said, but when he saw Lu Zan next to Li Shuquan, he couldn't help but frown. He didn't know why he felt a wave of pain from this person. A touch of coercion. Mr. Shu, I came to the mine today to redeem a mining slave. Li Shuquan said quickly. Oh, which mining slave is worthy of your visit personally, Mr. Li? Mr. Shu couldn't help but become curious. Lu Juyuan. As Li Shuquan finished speaking, the smile on Mr. Shu's face couldn't help but disappear, but after thinking about it, he still informed him. Lu Juyuan is no longer in the mine. Boom. As soon as Mr. Shu finished speaking, a burst of terrifying pressure burst out from Lu Zan's body. What? Where is my grandson? Lu Zan said angrily, and Mr. Shu couldn't help but be shocked by such pressure. Powerful in the nascent soul stage. Senior, calm down, the matter has not been explained clearly yet. Li Shuquan was also almost suppressed to the ground by this aura. He spoke a few words with great difficulty, and then Lu Zan put away his pressure. Where is my grandson? Lu Zan took a deep breath, looked at Mr. Shu and asked, and Mr. Shu naturally would not hide anything and told the news that Lu Juyuan was taken away by the princess. Let's go to the princess's mansion. After Lu Zan finished speaking, he walked outside, while Li Shuquan apologized repeatedly to Mr. Shu. I'm sorry, Mr. Shu, I'm sorry. After the two left, Mr. Shu murmured in shock, could this aura be the nascent soul stage power from last night? He naturally felt the fluctuation of the aura last night, but he needed to guard the mine and could not leave easily, so he did not go over to join in the fun, but he did not expect that the owner of the aura actually came to the door. This person is here to see Lu Juyuan. Is he some relative of Lu Juyuan? At this time, Li Shuquan led Lu Zan towards the princess's mansion. On the way, Li Shuquan said with a bitter look on his face. Senior Lu, you shouldn't have treated Mr. Shu like this before. The other person is from the Yuanwu kingdom after all. So what? Is it possible that Yuanwu will take action for a gold core period? Lu Zan snorted coldly, and then rushed towards the princess's mansion at full speed. Li Shuquan could only smile bitterly and followed him. Not long after, the two of them arrived in front of the princess's mansion. Before arriving at the princess's mansion, Li Shuquan repeatedly warned, Senior, this princess is the sixth princess most favored by King Li. Remember not to make any mistakes in front of her. Quote. But Lu Zan couldn't control that much, and exuded his own aura directly in front of the princess's mansion. In an instant, Li Bo and Xiao Qing in the hall felt this aura. Is this someone coming to cause trouble? Uncle Li snorted coldly and disappeared immediately. When Lu Juyuan heard that it looked like he could watch the show, he looked at Xiao Wu aside and said, Come on, take me to see you. Let's go and have a look too. At this time, Li Qingping also stood up, looked at Zhao King aside and said, Yes, miss. After hearing this, Xiao Qing took Li Qingping and walked out the door. When the two came to the door of the princess's mansion, they saw that Uncle Li was already confronting Lu Zan opposite. Fellow Taoist, don't you know where this is? If you dare to make trouble in front of the princess's mansion, is it because you don't take Yuanwu kingdom into your eyes? Li Bo was the first to say that although Lu Zan in front of him was at the same level as him, he could feel that Lu Zan was stronger than him, and he might not be his opponent if he took action. No, I came to the princess's mansion just to find my grandson. Lu Zan said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, and Li Shuquan, who was standing next to Lu Zan, was almost scared to death. He was from the princess's palace, and he was also a powerful person in the nascent soul stage. Lu Zan could run away afterwards, but his Li family had taken root in Qingfeng town, so where could he run away? Two seniors, please control your momentum. I can't hold it anymore. Li Shuquan said weakly, but what he got in exchange was a cold snort from Uncle Li and Lu Zan. Li Shuquan. Okay, I won't speak anymore. Who is your grandson? There should be no grandson of yours in my princess's palace. Li Bo's breath calmed down a lot after hearing this. My grandson's name is Lu Juyuan, and I am Lu Zan, the father of Lu Guang, the head of the Lu family. As Lu Zan finished speaking, Lu Juyuan happened to be led by Xiao Wu and arrived in front of the princess's mansion. Are you my grandfather? Lu Juyuan said in disbelief. He originally thought that all his family members had been killed by the Chen family, but he didn't expect that there was still a grandfather alive. As Lu Juyuan spoke, Lu Zan also noticed Lu Juyuan and couldn't help but be a little surprised. His grandson was really handsome. Yes, I am your grandfather, if your father is Lu Guang. Lu Zan said seriously, and immediately walked up to meet Lu Juyuan, but was stopped by Uncle Li on the side. You keep saying that you are Lu Juyuan's grandfather, but do you have anything to prove it? Li Bo snorted coldly and said, Lu Juyuan is now a heaven-level talent, and he is a peerless talent who has reached the 12th level of the body training realm. He must protect Lu Juyuan no matter what. Lu Zan's face darkened when he heard this, but since Uncle Li was from the Yuanwu kingdom, Lu Zan could only force out a drop of blood from his fingertips. If you don't believe it, you can use the art of blood identification. Hearing this, Uncle Li turned to look at Lu Juyuan and immediately agreed. If the person in front of him was really Grandpa Lu Juyuan, helping Lu Juyuan and his grandfather get to know each other might increase his favorability in Lu Juyuan's heart. After learning that some of his own blood was needed, Lu Juyuan did not hesitate and took out a drop of blood from his fingertips. Although he can regard Yuanwu Kingdom as his backer, he has no blood relationship with Yuanwu Kingdom after all, and he may be sold by Yuanwu Kingdom one day. After getting the blood of Lu Juyuan and Lu Zan, Li Bo did not hesitate at all and directly used the blood recognition technique. After a while, he saw that the blood of the two people was completely fused together. This also means that Lu Zan is really Lu Juyuan's grandfather. After confirming, Uncle Li asked Lu Juyuan to go to Lu Zan's side. Grandson, you have endured hardship over the years. If Grandpa were here, how could the Lu family be wiped out by the Chen family? Lu Zan said with some self-blame, while Lu Juyuan shook his head and said, Grandpa, I have let go over the years and accepted my current fate. But now, Grandpa, if you come back, then we can rebuild the Lu family. Lu Juyuan's eyes flashed with a hint of huge ambition. He wanted to rely on his own passivity to build a unique Lu family. Of course, Lu Juyuan didn't know if the system's passivity could be triggered when it reached a certain level. Okay, Grandpa, when I come back, I will naturally let our Lu family continue again. Lu Zan also nodded seriously. The Lu family had been destroyed, but that didn't matter. As long as he was still there, as long as his grandson was still there, the Lu family would still be there. Then I congratulate Mr. Lu on getting to know his grandfather. If you don't mind, when the Lu family is built in the future, the princess's mansion will definitely prepare a generous gift for Mr. Lu. At this time, Li Qingping stood up and said with a smile. Thank you very much, Princess. I have troubled you during this time. Lu Juyuan bowed politely. Well, if that's the case, it doesn't prevent Master Lu and Senior Lu from getting to know each other. Uncle Li, let's go back. After that, Li Qingping took Li Bo and others back to the princess's mansion, but Li Qingping made Lu Zan even curious. Grandson, this girl looks okay. If you can, you have to take advantage of it. Lu Zan looked at Lu Juyuan and said seriously, and Lu Juyuan smiled bitterly in return. Grandpa, she is King Li's favorite sixth princess. I'd better forget it, at least not yet. King Li, grandson, I believe you can reach the level of King Li. Lu Zan shook his head, and when he was about to say something more, he was quickly stopped by Lu Juyuan. Okay Grandpa, let's find someone to rebuild the Lu family first. After all, there are only two of us left in the Lu family now. Lu Juyuan was afraid that his grandfather would say something else, lest the strong man who secretly protected Li Qingping heard about it and slapped him to death. After all, Lu Juyuan saw a strong man in the nascent soul stage appear out of thin air in the princess's palace. Judging from the fact that Grandpa can confront Li Bo, I am afraid that Grandpa is just a strong man in the gold core stage. And I have never heard of the existence of Grandpa from my father. I am afraid that this Grandpa is the background of the passive creation of the system. Princess, are we going to let Lu Juyuan leave like this? Xiao Qing asked in disbelief. After all, they all saw Lu Juyuan's talent, and it would be best to keep such a genius around. Xiao Qing, you are still too naive. You can only make good friends with such a genius. If you insist on staying, you will only arouse the resentment of the other party, and the gain will not be worth the loss. Zhao Qing nodded in understanding. Furthermore, the news has probably spread back to the capital by now. My father will soon send someone to bring Mr. Liu into the royal family. Mr. Liu will not refuse by then. After all, our Yuanwu kingdom is so powerful. Put it here. A strange look flashed across Li Qingping's face, but it quickly disappeared. At the same time, Lu Juyuan had already brought his grandfather to the famous Lingju store in Qingfeng town. In Emperor Zan continent, the buildings of mortal families are basically made of mortal materials. Stronger families will use materials containing spiritual energy to build family buildings, and on this basis, spiritual buildings will appear. The Lingju store is a store that specializes in building Lingju. You only need to spend money to build Lingju. The Liu family previously built a low-grade yellow-grade spiritual building. After all, the value of spiritual buildings is too expensive. Even the gold core monks cannot afford it. Being able to build a low-grade yellow-grade spiritual building is already considered very valuable. It's not easy anymore. When Lu Juyuan and Lu Zan came in, the shop owner soon came to them. Two guests, don't you know what I can do for you? We want to create a spiritual building. Without hesitation, Lu Zan said it bluntly. When he heard this, the expression on the shop owner's face became even more excited. After all, those who can build spiritual buildings are basically extraordinary people. Guests, please wait a moment, I'll bring you the encyclopedia. After saying that, the shopkeeper quickly came to the two of them with a thick book and handed it into Lu Zan's hands. Our Tianling Spiritual Building Store is the largest spiritual building store in the entire Tianling state. As long as you have money, we can build even immortal-grade spiritual buildings. The shop owner said with a smile on his face, and Lu Juyuan also nodded after hearing this. Tianling Lingju store is indeed the largest Lingju store in Tianling Prefecture, while Lu Zan on the other side started browsing through the Lingju encyclopedia. According to his current foundation, the most he can do is build himself a top-grade Huang-grade spiritual building, but even so the price is still high, with just 1 square meter costing 1,000 low-grade spiritual stones. From selection to auction, when I finally found out it was the Liu family, the specific price was quickly estimated. Senior Liu, according to your plan, this project may require tens of millions of low-grade spiritual stones. The shopkeeper said cautiously, and Lu Zan threw out a storage ring after hearing this. According to the rules, I will give half of the deposit first, and the other half will be settled after the completion. Lu Zan said calmly, and the shop owner took the storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. It contained 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones, and he said with a smile, "Senior, don't worry, we will finish it for you within a week." After signing the contract, Lu Zan took Lu Juyuan out of the Tianling Lingju store. Tisk, 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 the Liu family was wiped out by the Chen family not long ago. It is said that there is only one young master of the Liu family left alive, but I didn't expect that the young master of the Liu family actually has a grandfather alive, and judging from the breath, I'm afraid his cultivation has reached the nascent soul stage. The shopkeeper said in surprise, and his body was filled with a gold core level of cultivation. After leaving Tianling Lingju store, Lu Juyuan looked at Lu Zan curiously. "Grandpa, how can you be so rich? You must know that spiritual stones are extremely precious. Even with the whole family's efforts, my father may not have been able to come up with such 100,000 high-quality spiritual stones. Grandpa, I have had many opportunities over the years while wandering outside Qingfeng town. It's not strange to have a little bit of spirit stone on my body." Lu Zan smiled and shook his head. After hearing this, Lu Juyuan could only give up questioning and just knew that Lu Zan would not harm him. "Since it still takes a week, and if you haven't practiced the technique, I can let you practice that technique," Lu Zan said with a mysterious face, which made Lu Juyuan a little curious. "Kung Fu. Well, but this is not a good place to talk. Let's find a suitable place to talk first." After Lu Zan said that, he took Lu Juyuan away from here. At the same time, in the palace of Yuanwu Kingdom, King Li, who was in retreat, had also received news from Uncle Li. With the blessing of heaven, I have awakened the best talents at the heaven level, and I have also broken through to the 12th level of the body forging realm. I must make friends with this person. If not, I will have to go there myself. After saying this, King Li stood up and rushed towards the location of Qingfeng town. However, what King Li did not expect was that the people from the Yumo sect had also learned about this news. Jehieji, a top-notch talent at the heaven level, plus the 12th level of the body forging realm. If this child can be included in my Yumo sect, I will definitely be able to surpass Yuanwu Kingdom in one fell swoop and surpass Yuanwu Kingdom. Devour it all. The leader of Yumo sect, had already received the news from Enzi whom he had installed in Yuanwu Kingdom, so he set off towards Qingfeng town without hesitation. There is no room for error with this child, and it might be possible for Yumo sect to take a further step forward. At this time, Lu Juyuan didn't know that King Li and Demon King Yu had rushed towards Qingfeng town because of him. Under the leadership of Lu Zan, Lu Juyuan followed to the training room. The training room was filled with spiritual energy that was richer than the outside world. Of course, the cost was also very high. A top-grade yellow-grade training room requires 100 low-grade spiritual stones per hour. Grandpa, can you tell me what the technique is now? Lu Juyuan was a little curious, while Lu Zan rummaged through the storage ring and found a stone. Seeing this scene, Lu Juyuan was a little surprised. Could there be any skills in the stone? Yes, even though this is a stone, there is a very high-level skill in this stone. But unfortunately, Grandpa, I have already practiced to the nascent soul stage. If I change the skill, I will need to destroy myself. My cultivation level has started again, but you are different. You just don't have the cultivation level to practice this technique. Lu Zan sighed and said that he did not have the confidence to abandon his cultivation. After saying that, he handed the stone to Lu Juyuan's hand. Hold this stone tightly and try to communicate with the stone. If you are destined, you can get the skills inside. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan clenched the stone with a serious look on his face, and immediately began to want to connect with the stone. However, with the blessing of luck, Lu Juyuan quickly established a connection with the stone. The stone shook violently, and Lu Juyuan fell into a ruined space. Where is this place? Lu Juyuan looked at the vast space and murmured. He lowered his head and saw that he was floating in the void. When Lu Juyuan raised his head again, he didn't know when a small stone appeared in front of him. Boy, you're funny. What Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that Shido actually spoke. Ah, hell, the stone can actually speak. Although Lu Juyuan knew that this was a fantasy world, he was naturally shocked when he saw something non-human speaking for the first time. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Shido obviously felt a little emotional. Boy, what, is it weird for stones to talk? There are a lot of weird things in this world. But Lu Juyuan soon accepted this matter. So where is my skill? Lu Juyuan asked enthusiastically. He couldn't wait to get the awesome technique. I don't know why the Hongmeng Divine Stone chose you, but if the Hongmeng Divine Stone chose you, then I can only teach you this technique. Boy, take it. After Shido said this, a beam of light shot out directly from his body and entered Lu Juyuan's mind. Soon, Lu Juyuan sensed the technique in his mind and couldn't help but recite it. Hongmeng Wan Dharma Sutra. You kid absorbs it very quickly. This, Hongmeng 10,000 Dharma Sutra, is the technique practiced by Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor back then. It is a genuine God-level technique. Just enjoy it secretly. However, not everyone can practice the Hongmeng 10,000 Dharma Sutra. Just because the Hongmeng Divine Stone has chosen you does not mean that you can practice this skill. Shido said with a face full of ridicule. After all, Hongmeng Tiandi was called the strongest person in the Emperor Zan continent at the beginning, a terrifying existence that surpassed the immortal emperor, but even so, he still fell in pursuit of a more powerful realm. Before his death, the Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor felt something in his heart and left his inheritance in a Hongmeng Divine Stone. By chance, it fell into the hands of Lu Zan. Hongmeng 10,000 Dharma Sutra is a technique practiced by the Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor. It is naturally extremely powerful, but it is also extremely difficult to practice. Ordinary monks cannot even understand it. But before Shido could finish his words, he saw a scene that shocked his worldview. Lu Juyuan just read the Hongmeng 10,000 Dharma Sutra by heart and quickly started to operate it smoothly. How is it possible? How is it possible that someone could memorize the Hongmeng 10,000 Dharma Sutra so quickly and still practice it? But this is not Lu Juyuan's limit. As Lu Juyuan circulates the Hongmeng 10,000 Dharma scriptures, the spiritual power of the entire training building is sweeping towards Lu Juyuan's location. Ha ha ha, I'm still a little short of breaking through to the gold core stage. This time I will get back everything I lost. Next door to Lu Juyuan, a monk at the peak of foundation building thought excitedly, and he was about to absorb spiritual power and break through to the gold core stage in one fell swoop. But at this moment, the still abundant spiritual energy in the training room disappeared in an instant. Hey, what's going on? Where do I have so much spiritual energy? The peak foundation building monk panicked, and as the spiritual energy disappeared, the monks in the entire training building became angry. Where is my aura? Where is all my aura? Are you kidding me? I was on the verge of a breakthrough and ended up running out of energy. What's going on? Where's the spiritual energy? Countless cultivators came out of the training room and said angrily, and the leader of the training building also panicked and said quickly. Don't worry, everyone. There is probably something wrong. Our staff is already investigating. Please be patient. The cultivators present were not so excited when they heard this, but they still cursed. Anyone who was interrupted in the middle of cultivation would be very angry. What on earth is it that absorbs the spiritual energy in an instant? The leader of the training building, a monk in the gold core stage, said angrily, but he would never have thought that all this was the breakthrough of a young monk who had not yet entered the qi refining stage. At this time, Lu Zan stood next to Lu Juyuan and said with excitement, ha ha ha, he is indeed my grandson. He has indeed obtained that skill. Now there is hope for the rise of my Lu family. As the spiritual energy of the entire training building was absorbed into Lu Juyuan's body, Lu Juyuan's realm finally began to loosen. Bang, only a crisp sound was heard, the early stage of qi refining, done. But this is not Lu Juyuan's limit. The aura of the entire training building can not only break through to the early stage, but Lu Juyuan's realm is also rising all the way. In the middle and later stages of qi refining, he broke through all the way to the peak of qi refining before stopping. The next level is the foundation building stage. Lu Juyuan wants to make his Dao foundation more solid before breaking through, so that he can go further. At this time, Shishi was stunned on the spot. Could anyone be so evil? It can feel that although Lu Juyuan is at the peak of qi refining at this time, his combat power is so strong that even in the early stages of foundation building, he may not be a single enemy to Lu Juyuan. Seeing this, Shido finally understood why Lu Juyuan was chosen by Hongmeng Wanfa Jing. Boy, carry on with the inheritance of Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor. I believe that one day you can make the inheritance of Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor known to the entire Emperor Zan continent again. After Shido said this, Lu Juyuan just opened his eyes and saw his grandfather. Grandson, it seems you should have obtained that mysterious technique. Seeing Lu Juyuan open his eyes, Lu Zan stepped forward to congratulate him and said, after all, he is a member of his Lu family, and it is natural for the Lu family to become stronger. Well, Grandpa, do you know Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor? Lu Juyuan asked curiously, while Lu Zan shook his head. Have no idea. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but frown. Has the Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor fallen for a long time? Even his grandfather didn't know about it. He should wait until he has a chance to learn more about the Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor. If you practice the other party's technique, you will be the successor of Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor. Sooner or later, you will make the reputation of Hongmeng Heavenly Emperor spread throughout the Emperor Zan continent again. But soon Lu Juyuan thought of something and became a little excited. This was a genuine god-level technique, at least enough to cultivate him to the immortal emperor realm. As far as Lu Juyuan knew, there didn't seem to be many immortal emperors in the entire Emperor Zan continent. This also means that as long as he continues to practice, he will become the strongest person in the Emperor Zan continent sooner or later. Now that Juyuan has obtained the cultivation technique, you should practice and stabilize the realm here first. The Lu family will still need 7 days to complete the construction. Lu Zan said, because Lu Juyuan had absorbed all the spiritual power, the operation of the entire training building had stopped, but it has now recovered. I know, Grandpa. After Lu Juyuan said this, he was about to sit down and practice, but he did not expect that at this time, a terrifying pressure came from above Qingfeng town. A strong man is coming. At the same time, in the princess's mansion, the three masters looked at the sky above Qingfeng town with horrified faces. They only felt a terrifying figure appearing in the sky above Qingfeng town, and with it, there was also a terrifying demonic energy. Not surprisingly, this is a demonic cultivator. It's someone from the demon sect. In the princess's palace, the strong man from Yuanwu Kingdom who was ordered to protect Li Qingping appeared. The aura of the void refining stage on his body was clearly visible, and he could feel that the person above was probably a transcending tribulation stage master. A person of this level, even if he is definitely a core figure in the Yumo sect. In the training building, Lu Zan also felt something, and his face turned ugly. He could naturally feel what others could feel, and the same was true for Lu Juyuan. But Lu Juyuan didn't know yet that this was the demonic cultivator, but he could feel that this aura gave him a very uncomfortable feeling. How could such a powerful demonic cultivator be targeting Qingfeng town? Lu Zan was puzzled. Over the years, he had traveled all over the country and met a lot of strong people. Naturally, he could tell them apart. The strong person in front of him was probably the transcending tribulation stage. This kind of person would definitely not be his opponent even if he tried his best. At the same time, in the sky above Qingfeng town, the wandering demon king, covered in black gas, was greedily staring at everything in Qingfeng town, and his terrifying consciousness was searching Qingfeng town unscrupulously. After a few seconds, the demon king's consciousness came to rest on Lu Juyuan's body. Jihieji, I found you, my little baby. And as the wandering demon king's consciousness stopped, the strong men in the void refining stage in the princess's mansion quickly reacted. This guy is coming for Lu Juyuan. Hearing the words of her strong man, Li Qingping's heart skipped a beat. Mr. Lu was in danger. When would his father come? Lu Juyuan also felt uneasy in his heart, feeling as if he was being targeted by some terrifying entity. Lu Zan cursed secretly and wanted to run away with Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan is the most talented person in his Lu family. Although the Lu family no longer exists, he believes that under the leadership of Lu Juyuan, his Lu family will definitely regain and surpass its previous glory. Just when the Demon King was about to take action, another terrifying aura came. Wandering Demon King, stop, this person has been protected by our Yuanwu Kingdom. A voice reached the ears of everyone in Qingfeng town, and Li Qingping's originally clenched heart finally relaxed. Father is here, this matter should be fine. The person who came was none other than King Li. At this critical moment, King Li finally arrived. After hearing this person's words, Lu Zan quickly understood that the person who came was probably King Li. With the appearance of King Li, Demon King Yumo's expression became obviously ugly. Li Xuanren, you can't save this person. Besides, if this person learns about the treatment of my demon traveling sect, he might join my demon traveling sect. Oh, are you sure? Boy, come out. Li Xuanren chuckled, and then Lu Juyuan walked out of the training room under the leadership of Lu Zan. I've met King Li. No matter what, Li Xuanren is Li Qingping's father, so Lu Juyuan naturally wants to give him some face. Boy, let me ask you, do you plan to join our Yuanwu Kingdom or do you want to join the Yumo sect? After Li Xuanren finished speaking, the Demon King standing on the other side said with a smile. Boy, with your talent, if you join our demon traveling sect, you will definitely be able to become the young sect master, and I will also give you the resources you need, allowing you to break through to the void refining stage within 100 years. Li Xuanren didn't say anything. He believed that Lu Juyuan should know what choices to make. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Juyuan smiled and said, Thank you two seniors for your love. It's just that I already have a family, so I don't plan to join other forces. Hearing this, Li Xuanren was a little surprised, but he was not angry. As long as this boy is still in the Yuanwu Kingdom, he is a member of the Yuanwu Kingdom. When the country is in trouble, it is normal for everyone to bear the responsibility. The Demon King's expression obviously turned ugly. Boy, you'd better think about it seriously. After all, I can give you everything you want. If you want to become stronger quickly, you'd better join me. Otherwise, you don't know when you go out one day. The mysterious strong man was killed directly. As soon as these words came out, it was obvious that there was a hint of threat. It was just that Lu Juyuan was a soft-spoken man, and the Demon King actually threatened him, so he already had a way to die. I'm sorry, I really have no interest in any bullshit magic sect, and judging from the name, it's obvious that it's some trash sect that's not popular. Lu Juyuan said with a sneer. As soon as he said these words, the surrounding air became colder. Boy, you are so brave. Originally, if you joined my demon traveling sect, I would have accepted you as a disciple to train you, but if you dare to insult my demon traveling sect, then you will die here today. After saying that, Yumo Wang flicked his fingers and directly waved out a stream of demonic energy, intending to kill Lu Juyuan on the spot, but he forgot that Li Xuanren was still here. Old Ghost Yumo, if you dare to kill a member of Yuanwu Kingdom in front of me, don't you think you're taking me less seriously? Li Xuanren sighed and appeared in front of Lu Juyuan in the blink of an eye to help Lu Juyuan block the demonic energy. HMPH, since Li Xuanren you appear here, let's settle the old and new grudges together. The Demon King snorted coldly and rushed towards Li Xuanren. Okay, if that's the case, let's fight to the death. Li Xuanren was not afraid at all and rushed forward. In an instant, the aftermath of the collision between the two dispersed in all directions at a terrifying speed. At this time, the strong man in the void refining stage who was secretly protecting Li Qingping appeared and used all his strength to wipe out the aftermath. Blocked. Noticing this, Li Xuanren deliberately moved the battlefield to the sky, so that Qingfeng town would not be destroyed by the aftermath. The fantasy world is like this. During the battle, strong men often turn rivers and seas upside down, destroying heaven and earth. It is normal for a trace of the leaked aftermath to destroy a city. As the battle between the two moved to the sky, Lu Juyuan could not see clearly the battle between the two. He only knew that one day later, the Demon King made an angry sound. Okay, I didn't expect that you, Li Xuanren, would actually hide such a backup plan. We have a long way to go. I, the Demon King, will definitely kill this kid. After saying that, a dark shadow among the people quickly fled away into the distance, while Li Xuanren's figure slowly fell from the sky. You don't need to think about it to know that Li Xuanren should be slightly better. Li Qingping had already rushed to the battlefield at this time. After seeing that her father was okay, she breathed a sigh of relief and came to Li Xuanren and said, "Father, it's really great that you are okay. Don't worry, he's just a wandering demon king. He's not my opponent yet. It's just that he wants to escape but I can't keep him." Li Xuanren said with a smile after seeing that it was his good daughter. Well, my father is the most powerful. Li Qingping stood aside and nodded in agreement. After some greetings, Li Xuanren slowly walked to Lu Juyuan. Boy, do you really not want to join the royal family of Yuanwu Kingdom? Chapter 11. Thank you very much, King Li, for your kindness, but I, Lu Juyuan, am already a member of the Lu family, and the Demon King has been repelled by you, King Li, right? Lu Juyuan refused without hesitation. After all, he was now in the Lu family and would not have too many constraints in his family. If he went to the royal family, wouldn't he make himself uncomfortable? Not to mention that in the royal family, there might be intrigues every day. If it was a fight, Lu Juyuan would be fine, but when it came to intrigues, it would be too tiring. Forget it, since you want to stay in the Lu family, I will naturally not force you. But you have to know that the Demon King already knows that you are in Qingfeng town. I am afraid that what you will face next will be a steady stream of disputes. Quote. King Li kindly reminded that Lu Juyuan naturally knew this, but he was also sure that his passivity should have been triggered. The Demon King had already taken action against him before, so could he not be his enemy? If the boy dies here, it will be his fate. Lu Juyuan smiled and said, as if he had no regard for life and death, while Li Qingping, who was standing aside, became a little anxious. Mr. Lu, please stop thinking about it. After all, the demonic sect should not be underestimated. Lu Juyuan just said with a serious face, Princess, we immortal cultivators are born to fight and have nothing to fear. If I am afraid of this wandering demon sect today, then my Taoist heart may be unstable. This time it will affect my future cultivation. Li Qingping wanted to persuade her, but was stopped by Li Xuanren. Daughter, since Lu Xiaoyu has said so, we can't force others to do anything. Lu Xiaoyu, if you change your mind in the future, you can take this token and go to the capital to find me. As long as anyone from my royal family sees this token, the cards all know what they mean. After Li Xuanren said that, he took out an exquisite token and handed it to Lu Juyuan. He looked at the palm-sized token in his hand, with an exquisite dragon carved on it, and next to the dragon there was the word, Li. After receiving the token, Lu Juyuan said seriously, "Thank you very much, King Li, for your kindness. If I have the idea of going to the royal family in the future, I will definitely go." "Ha ha ha, then I'll be waiting for you." Li Xuanren laughed when he heard this and said, "Today he and Lu Juyuan have formed a good relationship. When Lu Juyuan becomes stronger in the future, he may not be able to help him. Daughter, do you want to follow me back or stay in Qingfeng town?" Li Xuanren turned to look at Li Qingping. After hearing this, Li Qingping glanced at Lu Juyuan quietly before speaking. "Father, I'd better stay in Qingfeng town and be the princess for the time being." But how could such a small gesture be hidden from King Li's eyes? King Li laughed and said, "Then my daughter, just stay here. Remember to be careful about your own safety. There are still things in the royal family that I need to deal with. First, take a step forward." After Li Xuanren said that, he glanced at Lu Juyuan and flew back towards Yuanwu Kingdom in the distance. "Mr. Lu, since everything here has been settled, I will go back to the princess's mansion first." Li Qingping also spoke at this time. "Then have a good trip, my lord, princess." Lu Juyuan smiled and said. Li Qingping frowned slightly when he heard this, and then said, "If Master Lu doesn't mind, just call me Qingping." Hearing this, Zhao King couldn't help but be surprised. Did the young lady fall in love with Lu Juyuan? But Lu Juyuan didn't pay much attention to it, but said with his hands clasped in fists, "In that case, Qingping, please pay attention to safety when you go back." "Well, then I'm leaving." Watching Li Qingping and Zhao King gradually go away, Lu Zan, who was standing aside, couldn't help but shook his head and said, "Grandson, you have missed a great opportunity. Although your talent is strong, our Lu family has not been able to protect your strength now. In addition, the Demon King you must be thinking about you. I am afraid there will be no peace now." Hearing his grandfather's words, Lu Juyuan just smiled, but didn't say anything. Instead, he turned around and returned to the training room to practice. If nothing else, his passive should have been triggered. Thousand Beasts Mountain Range in Tianling Prefecture. "Grandpa, can we really find Kamikaze in the Thousand Beast Mountain Range?" In the Thousand Beast Mountain Range, a master and a grandson are looking for something. "Don't worry, grandson. There are countless treasures of heaven and earth in the Thousand Beasts Mountain Range. The divine wind grass is just a low-grade spiritual grass of Zon level. You can still find it if you take some time," the old man said with a smile, but the next second the old man sensed something, and his hair stood on end. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" the young man asked curiously, and the old man looked forward, as if facing a formidable enemy. The young man quickly looked forward, and saw a mysterious monk appearing in front of them, standing there, but it doesn't seem to be in this world. "What year and month is this evening?" After a long stalemate, the mysterious monk asked, and the old man quickly said after seeing that the mysterious monk was not hostile to them. "Senior, it is now the 114,514th year of the Emperor Zon calendar." Hearing the old man's words, the mysterious monk raised his head and showed a trace of nostalgia. "Has it only been 1,000 years? I don't know if my Lu family is still here." After saying that, the mysterious monk disappeared, and the grandfather and grandson breathed a sigh of relief. "Grandpa, what kind of strength does this have?" the grandson asked curiously, while the old man said solemnly, "I don't know, but anyone who can make me, a monk in the soul formation stage, feel powerless to resist is at least a powerful person in the void refining stage." But what he didn't expect was that the other party was actually a super powerful person at the peak of Mahayana. "And right now, the kamikaze you need is 100 miles away. Thank you, senior, for reminding me," the old man said with excitement when he heard this. After all, although kamikaze grass is not a high-level spiritual grass, it is extremely difficult to find. With this adult's reminder, his grandson's skills can be mastered. On the other side, Lu Juyuan didn't know that his background was on the way to him. At this time, He was still in seclusion to stabilize his cultivation, striving to break through to the foundation building stage as soon as possible. During the chi refining period, you can only cast some basic spells, similar to Fireball, but in essence they are not much different from ordinary people, and they will still become ancients after 100 years. Only by breaking through to the foundation building stage can one's lifespan be doubled to 200 years. He can also fly with a sword and soar between heaven and earth. As time passed day by day as Lu Juyuan went into seclusion, construction of Tianling Lingju store on the Lu family's side had also begun, and buildings were rising one after another. The Lu family is returning to its peak. And soon the 7th day arrived. Has the Lu family's side been built yet? Lu Juyuan withdrew from his cultivation state and followed Lu Zan back to the old site of the Lu family. He saw that the Lu family at this time had already taken on a completely new look, even far superior to the previous Lu family. Not every household can build a top-grade Wangji spiritual building. Senior Lu, please check and accept it here. If there are no accidents, then you can settle the final payment. When Lu Zan and Lu Juyuan appeared, Sun Xiaochuan, the owner of Lingju store, came to them and said with a smile, "Well, I'll go take a look." After saying that, Lu Zan walked into the Lu family to check, and Lu Juyuan followed in. After it was almost the same as the Lu family in his impression, Lu Zan handed over the remaining balance to Sun Xiaochuan. After everyone in the Lingju store left, Lu Zan shook his head looking at the empty Lu family. "It seems that we still need to buy a group of domestic slaves, otherwise it will be empty." Then he turned to look at Lu Juyuan and asked, "Grandson, do you know where slaves can be sold?" Although it was normal for Lu Zan to call him this, Lu Juyuan always felt like he was swearing, but he still spoke. "Grandpa, you can go to Wanbao Chamber of Commerce and have a look. There should be slaves for sale there." The Wanbao Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber of commerce in the entire Tianling Prefecture, and its branches are spread throughout Tianling Prefecture. It can be said that wherever there are people, there is a shadow of the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce. To become the largest chamber of commerce, the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce naturally has a rich foundation. It is said that there are strong men from the Golden Immortal Realm sitting there, and it is also related to the Immortal Sovereign. Wanbao Chamber of Commerce. Let's go there today. Grandson will lead the way. Lu Zan had naturally heard of the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce, so he waved his hand and said, while Lu Juyuan shook his head with a wry smile, "Grandpa, why don't you just call me by my name? Calling me grandson feels like swearing." "Well, if you don't like it, then I'll call you by your name from today on, grandson," Lu Zan said seriously when he heard this. "Okay, Grandpa." At the same time, the Chen family. The Lu family actually still has its ancestors alive. Let's leave Qingfeng town as soon as possible to avoid being liquidated by the Lu family. In the Chen family hall, a group of Chen family senior officials gathered together, and their faces were full of solemnity. It was obvious that they had learned about the death of their family leader. "Indeed, the Lu family has not taken action against us yet. I think they must be entangled in something. If we don't leave now, we will wait. I second the proposal." In this way, the entire Chen family unanimously decided to leave Qingfeng town. After all, the Chen family would still be alive. But when they found Chen Feng, they saw Chen Feng's eyes were red and his face was full of anger. "Lu Juyuan, you guy, why do you have to crush me every time?" After learning that his father had died at the hands of someone from the Lu family, Chen Feng went completely crazy. "Fenger, the most important thing now is to leave Qingfeng town first. If you stay in Qingshan, you won't be afraid of running out of firewood. As long as our Chen family is still here, we will be able to destroy the Lu family sooner or later." Chen Feng's second uncle, Chen Huo, stood up and said solemnly. At this time, his cultivation level was at the peak of foundation building, and he was only one step away from breaking through to the gold core stage. "Second uncle, you are right. As long as I am still alive, there are endless possibilities for our Chen family. Let's go and get out of here." After his second uncle's guidance, Chen Feng finally stabilized and took a deep breath with a gloomy look in his eyes. Chen Huo nodded with satisfaction when he saw this. Chen Feng was indeed the most talented person in their Chen family. He had already reached the foundation building stage at the age of 40. Judging from this situation, nascent soul was promising. When Chen Feng breaks through to the nascent soul stage, it will be the time when the Chen family comes back. Although the Chen family was doing things quietly, some people who were interested were still aware of it. Ha ha ha, are the Chen family planning to run away? In that case, let me, the Li family, send the Chen family members to Senior Lu as a congratulatory gift. Li Shuquan said excitedly when he heard the news. His cultivation level in the middle stage of gold core was revealed inadvertently. After taking the elixir given by Lu Zan, Li Shuquan broke through to the middle stage of gold core naturally. After all, he had been stuck in the early stages of gold core for many years, but he just didn't have the resources or talent to break through. Lu Zan and Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know about this yet. At this time, they had already arrived in front of the magnificent Wanbao Chamber of Commerce. It is worthy of being the largest chamber of commerce in Tianling Prefecture. Even one branch is so rich. Lu Zan shook his head and said, then walked directly in, followed by Lu Juyuan. The moment they walked in, a pretty-looking staff member came to them. Two guests, don't you know what I can do for you? Lu Zan got straight to the point and stated his needs. Hearing this, the staff also looked a little thoughtful, and after a moment he said, if you don't mind, our guest, we can announce the recruitment of domestic slaves for you. I don't know what kind of treatment you can give to your domestic slaves. What about 10 low-grade spiritual stones a year, including food and accommodation? Lu Zan said without hesitation that what he needed was a domestic slave, not to be included in the Lu family. Okay, we will probably be able to find all the slaves for you within 3 days. In addition, the handling fee for each slave we charge is 2 low-grade spiritual stones. The staff member said with a smile. After paying all the handling fees and other fees, the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce quickly began to find a slave for Lu Zan. After all, Lu Zan's requirements were not high, as long as he was healthy, and 10 low-grade spiritual stones were not enough for some mortals. It is said that nature is extremely precious, so you don't need to think about it to know that there are probably not a few people who want to become the Lu family's slaves. In addition to the domestic slaves, Lu Zan also purchased some things that would be used at the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce. Of course, most of them were for Lu Juyuan. After all, Lu Juyuan is now his only bloodline, so he must take it seriously. 3 days passed quickly. Lu Zan received news from the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce. When he arrived at the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce, he saw 100 domestic slaves present, including 50 men and 50 women. After using his spiritual sense to detect their physical conditions, Lu Zan nodded with satisfaction. After signing a contract with them, Lu Zan brought them to the Lu family. Arriving at the magnificent Lu family, these 100 slaves seemed a little embarrassed. Noticing this scene, Lu Zan called them all together and then gave a speech. From today on, you will start working for our Lu family. You will eat, drink, and have love in the Lu family. If you want to go out of the Lu family, you must ask for permission. But if your performance is good, then we can give you the surname Lu and become members of my Lu family. These people were basically homeless or had sold their bodies for some reason and became domestic slaves. After hearing Lu Zan's words, they all became particularly excited. After all, Lu Zan's strength lies here. If he can become a member of the Lu family, it will definitely not be a hardship. Lu Zan didn't care about their expressions, but continued to arrange their affairs, selected a person named Lin Guiran as the general manager, and then gave up. At this point, things in the Lu family started to get on the right track. But there was another scene outside Qingfeng town on the other side. With everything being prepared, Lu Zan immediately decided to have a banquet in a month's time and invite the entire Qingfeng town family to come to the Lu family to have a banquet. Li family, Li Shuquan burst out laughing after learning the news. Ha ha ha, okay, after 7 days I will take the Chen family over to give the Lu family a gift. I think Senior Lu will definitely thank me well. Quote. Not long after the Chen family left Qingfeng town that day, they were arrested by the elite Li family led by Li Shuquan. After all, the Chen family no longer had gold core and he had broken through to the middle stage of gold core, so everything naturally fell into place. But one bad thing is that in order to cover their escape, Chen Huo actually used the forbidden technique and broke through to the early stage of gold core, but was still slapped to death by Li Shuquan, while no one from the Chen family escaped. The whole family is full. Since Senior Lu wants to rebuild the Lu family, our family will naturally prepare heavy gifts when the time comes. Come and bring me my Blue Thunder Sword. Give it to the Lu family as a congratulatory gift. Peng Yuyan of the Peng family, after learning the news, immediately decided to bring his most beautiful descendants to please Lu Juyuan that day. After all, Lu Juyuan was the only one left in the Lu family. If she could become Lu Juyuan's concubine, then their Peng family will have no worries in Qingfeng town. And Wan, the head of the An family, also prepared heavy gifts and waited for the banquet to begin in 7 days. Princess's mansion. Miss, this is something His Majesty has prepared for you. Do you really want to give it to the Lu family as a gift? Zhao King looked at a golden token in Li Qingping's hand and said hesitantly. Well, I don't have any use for this thing. Plus my father has arranged many strong men to protect me, so it's even more useless. Li Qingping said without hesitation, and then inadvertently looked towards a corner. That boy actually dared to reject me, and that Li Xuanren was about to take a step forward. In the demon sect filled with demonic aura, the demon king sat on his throne and said angrily. It was obvious that everything that day had made him extremely angry. Master, that boy's family is about to be rebuilt now, and according to the news from Anzi, King Li seems to have gone into seclusion after returning. Should we go and kidnap that boy now? The fifth elder of Yumo sect stood up and said. Well, this revenge must be avenged, but I was slightly injured and unable to go for the time being, so great elder, please take the place of my sect leader. The demon king looked at a certain corner with a gloomy expression, and saw a withered figure sitting cross-legged there. After hearing the words of the demon king, the elder opened his eyes. Yes, after saying that, the figure of the great elder disappeared, and a trace of aura leaked from his body inadvertently. It was the middle stage of transcending tribulation. On the other side, King Li didn't know that the demonic cultivator in the middle stage of transcending tribulation, was actually sent to kidnap Lu Juyuan, and he sent a peak-level K Qing on the pretext of protecting Li Qingping. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, the Lu family had already arranged everything under Lin Guiran's arrangement, and the entire Lu family seemed particularly festive. Master, Lu Juyuan had just finished settling down his realm. When he went out, he saw Lin Guiran greeting him. Lu Juyuan had already met Lin Guiran before. Well, everything has been arranged for today, Lu Juyuan said with a smile, while Lin Guiran quickly said, Young master, everything is ready. From Lin Guiran's mouth, Lu Juyuan also learned about today's arrangement. 7 days ago, the domestic slaves sent invitations to every cultivating family in Qingfeng town. Note: cultivation families refer to families with qi refining period. Although Qingfeng town looks very big, there are only about 100 cultivating families in it. With the current size of the Lu family, it will not be a problem to accommodate them. Well, you entertain the guests first, and after the matter is settled, I will let you all enter the qi refining period. Lu Juyuan patted Lin Guiran's shoulder and said with a smile. Lin Guiran's whole body couldn't stop shaking as soon as he said these words. Thank you, young master, for your gift. We will definitely do our best to the Lu family, and we will not hesitate to do so. It can be said that becoming an immortal cultivator is the lifelong dream of every person in Emperor Zan continent, but becoming an immortal cultivator is not an easy task, especially for domestic slaves like them. Now Lu Juyuan actually said that he wanted them to become immortal cultivators. Even if this was a lie, it was worthy of them to kneel down and thank Lu Juyuan. What's more, given the current situation of the Lu family, this statement may not be true. After telling Lin Guiran to go down and do some work, Lu Juyuan arrived at the door of Lu's house and saw guests coming in one after another from the gate. Your family will present you with 20 pieces of low-grade spiritual stones. The Cheng family presents 30 pieces of low-grade spiritual stones. The Shui family presents 25 pieces of low-grade spiritual stones. The house slave who was in charge of collecting gifts at the door said loudly, after all, most of the families were in the qi refining stage, so it was pretty good to be able to gift so many low-grade spiritual stones. Only when building a foundation family, you can see low-grade spiritual stones with more than 100 gifts. The person responsible for seating the Lu family today is the famous restaurant Shanrenzui in Tianlingzhou. However, the cost is really expensive. Setting up 50 tables cost 1,000,000 low-grade spirit stones, which means that the value of a table is as high as 20,000 low-grade spiritual stones. From this point of view, the gifts they spent are nothing to mention. Of course, there are different levels of treatment for receiving guests of different realms. To describe it, the people you bring during the chi refining period sit at one table, the chi refining period sits at another table, the foundation building period sits at another table, and in the gold core period, you sit alone at a table. It's just that there aren't many gold core periods available. At this moment, the house slaves at the door shouted. Quan Lei, the head of the family, came to congratulate the Liu family on their entry into the house, and presented him with a Xuanji low-grade long sword, the Qing Lei sword. As the slaves shouted out, the monks who had come in couldn't help but look at the door, and saw Quan Lei walking in with a smile on his face, and beside him were two people who came to see the world. Junior in the chi refining stage. Everyone present was shocked by Quan Lei's aura. You must know that Xuanji low-grade weapons are worth up to 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Plus the long sword, it may be even more expensive than 2,000 low-grade spirit stones. Isn't it just a feast? Is it necessary to give such an expensive gift? Before Quan Lei could feel proud enough, he only heard the slaves shouting excitedly again. The head of the An family, An Wan, came to congratulate the Liu family on their entry into the house, and presented him with a Xuanji low-grade elixir called Shengxing Dan. Hearing this, Quan Lei's expression became ugly at a speed visible to the naked eye. The Xuanji low-grade pill Shengxing Dan can greatly increase the monk's speed after use. Even monks in the gold core stage can continue to increase their speed by half for an hour. It is no exaggeration to say that this elixir can even be called a life-saving elixir for gold core monks. I said, An Wan, you are so generous, even taking out this kind of pill. After seeing An Wan, Quan Lei couldn't help but complain, while An Wan complained in a humorless manner. You guys, you have the nerve to tell me off. Didn't you also take out the Green Thunder sword as a gift? The value of the Green Thunder sword is no less than my elixir. Hearing this, Quan Lei just snorted and said nothing more. At this moment, the slaves shouted again. Peng Yuyan, the head of the Peng family, came to congratulate the Liu family on entering the house and gave him 15,000 low-grade spiritual stones as a gift. After hearing Peng Yuyan's congratulatory gift, Quan Lei and An Wan couldn't help but be surprised. Peng Yuyan was willing to give up 15,000 low-grade spiritual stones. And soon Peng Yuyan came to the two of them. You two came earlier than I thought. Peng Yuyan smiled and shook his head, while Quan Lei's eyes widened when he saw a woman following Peng Yuyan. Lao Peng, you actually brought your granddaughter here. What do you want to do? Hey, look at what you said, isn't this a banquet? Isn't it normal for me to bring my granddaughter over for a banquet? Peng Yuyan glared and said with dissatisfaction, making it look like she was real. Next to Peng Yuyan was a beautiful woman who looked like a fairy. Although she was originally a cultivator of immortality, her aura was as high as in the sky. Fairy-like. It can be viewed from a distance but not blasphemed. Tisk, 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 Lao Peng, if you bring Ziyan here, is it because you want to marry the Liu family? An Wan shook his head helplessly and said, Peng Yuyan's granddaughter Peng Ziyan is known as the most beautiful woman in Qingfeng town. Of course, that was before Li Qingping came. If there weren't any good girls in their family, I'm afraid they would have chosen to bring the most beautiful girl in the family. Maybe if Liu Juyuan fell in love with her, she could marry into the Liu family. Today, only Liu Juyuan is the main bloodline of the Liu family, which means that the future head of the Liu family must be Liu Juyuan. Build a good relationship with Liu Juyuan in advance. If something happens in the future, Liu Juyuan may be able to help. But at this moment, the slaves shouted again. The head of the Li family, Li Shuquan, has come to congratulate the Liu family on entering the house, and as a gift, the entire Chen family will receive a share. When talking about the heads of the entire clan, the slave's face was full of weirdness, but he could only read it out. After hearing what the slave said, the immortal cultivators present were all shocked, and the three gold core family owners secretly screamed. No, I was overtaken by the old thief Li Shuquan. Quan Lei slapped his thigh and regretted deeply. He didn't expect that Li Shuquan would actually choose to kidnap everyone in the Chen family. The Liu family and the Chen family have an sworn hatred, which means that the Chen family will definitely be destroyed by the Liu family. Under such circumstances, the Li family actually kidnapped the entire Chen family and used their brains. Just think about it and you will know how precious this gift is. As Quan Lei and others turned around, they saw Li Shuquan standing in front, and behind him were the Chen family members who were tied up with a rope. Li Shuquan, you have such a good idea, you actually came up with this trick. Quan Lei was so angry that he gritted his teeth. If he kidnapped all the Chen family members, he might not know what kind of reward that adult would give him. Hey, you're welcome, I'm just using my brain. At this time, Li Shuquan's mouth was already grinning to the back of his head. Seeing this scene, the three gold core family heads were even more angry, but there was nothing they could do. After all, Li Shuquan was now familiar with that senior, and they were too embarrassed to attack Li Shuquan. At this time, the Chen family, who had been kidnapped by Li Shuquan, felt like the orangutans being stared at in the zoo. They wanted to dig a hole and burrow down. At this time, Chen Feng was so angry that he was so angry at this huge sense of shame that he kept digging his toes on the ground, almost digging out of the 3 rooms and 1 living room. Deep in the Liu family, Lu Zhan had already received news from the slaves, and he opened his eyes in surprise. Is this Li Shuquan so knowledgeable? Anyway, I originally planned to destroy the Chen family to avenge Guanzhou after the Liu family was rebuilt, but they all showed up, so let's deal with it in the meantime. After saying that, Lu Zhan rushed out the door. Also receiving the news was Lu Juyuan. Have everyone in the Chen family been arrested? If that's the case, then let's deal with them all. The memory of the original person, Lu Juyuan, felt the same way. In Lu Juyuan's view, the shame of that day was his own business, so he should also kill the Chen family members by himself. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan set off and rushed towards the location of the Chen family. Before the 3 gold core family heads on the other side could react, Lu Zhan had already appeared in front of them. Senior Lu. The 3 of them bowed quickly and said that they must not make mistakes in front of their seniors. Otherwise, even if Lu Zhan killed them, they would have nothing to say. Well, are these all the Chen family? Lu Zhan looked at the Chen family and asked calmly. Li Shuquan said quickly. Senior Lu, all the people of the Chen family are here, and I have brought everyone with the blood of the Chen family. But they were fed by me and dissipated. They can't use spiritual power like mortals for 12 hours. After hearing Li Shuquan's words, Lu Zhan nodded with satisfaction. Dissipation, a kind of heavenly material and earthly treasure that can make monks lose spiritual power in a short period of time. If the age is longer, it can even affect the power of the transcending tribulation stage. You did a great job. I, the Liu family, owe you a favor for this matter. If something happens in the future, I, the Liu family, can take action for you. As Lu Zhan finished speaking, Li Shuquan thanked him. Senior, this is what I should do. If it weren't for Senior's help, I might not be able to break through to the middle stage of Gold Core. As soon as Li Shuquan said this, the 3 masters were stunned. How dare this guy Li Shuquan secretly break through to the middle stage of Gold Core? A favor is a favor, you have done something for my Liu family, and I still need to thank you. Lu Zhan waved his hand and said casually, and Li Shuquan could only hold back the excitement in his heart and agreed. In this way, the Li family can ask the Liu family to take action twice. At this moment, Lu Juyuan arrived late, and after seeing Lu Juyuan, Chen Feng became even more excited. Are all the Chen family members here? Lu Juyuan came to the scene wearing white clothes. After seeing Lu Juyuan, several people looked a little surprised on their faces. After all, the previous rumors about Lu Juyuan had been abolished. But judging from the current situation, it doesn't seem to be the case. I saw that Lu Juyuan's appearance had returned to its previous peak, and the aura on his body contained terrifying power like a scorching sun. Little friend Lu, everyone in the Chen family who is still alive is here. Li Shuquan said quickly. After getting this answer, Lu Juyuan nodded with satisfaction, but at this moment, Chen Feng who was among them said angrily. Lu Juyuan, how can you rely on the elders of the clan? If you have the ability, you can fight me and see how I can defeat you. Following the sound, Lu Juyuan raised his head and saw an unkempt young man yelling angrily. After searching in his memory for a long time, he recognized the other person. Are you, inside, Chen, who was defeated by me? Lu Juyuan's expression didn't look fake, which made Chen Feng even more angry and began to struggle crazily. Little friend Lu, please don't agree to his request. This guy has already broken through to the foundation building stage. Even if he wins, he will still be defeated by force. Li Shuquan stood aside and blocked him. Quan Lei and others also nodded. Lu Zan did not say anything, but just looked at Lu Juyuan. After all, he also knew that Lu Juyuan had not yet broken through to the foundation building stage, and Chen Feng had already broken through to the foundation building stage 3 years ago. Facing Chen Feng's provocation, Lu Juyuan didn't take it seriously, but he was also curious in his heart as to where his current combat power limit was. Although he was only at the peak of qi refining, Lu Juyuan could feel that his strength could not be measured by his realm. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan sneered. Forget it, since you are looking for death, then I will let you die until you are convinced. Someone, let go. Lu Juyuan's words obviously changed Li Shuquan's expression. If Chen Feng hurt Lu Juyuan, he would probably be punished anyway, because he was the one who brought the Chen family here. Just when he was about to stop him, Lu Zan waved his hand and stopped him. Lu Zan had enough confidence in his grandson. After all, Lu Juyuan had been blessed by heaven. Using Chen Feng to create his grandson's invincible Taoist heart is a good choice. Furthermore, if Chen Feng doesn't know what's good and what's good, don't blame yourself for taking action himself. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, the domestic slaves hurriedly stepped forward to loosen Chen Feng, but the effect of the Xiaoling San was still there, but this could not trouble Lu Zan at all. Lu Zan stepped forward and directly pressed Chen Feng's forehead. Terrifying power instantly poured into Chen Feng's body, and the all-powerful spirit quickly dissipated under Lu Zan's power. Soon Chen Feng burst out with the power of the early stage of foundation building. Seeing this, Li Shuquan shook his head with some pity. Chen Feng's talent is acceptable, and given time, he might be able to break through to the gold core stage, but his biggest mistake was probably provoking the Lu family. Let's go to the competition ring. After Lu Juyuan said that, he turned and walked directly towards the Lu family's competition stage, and the guests present followed him with great interest. After all, it was a battle between geniuses, and most of them were monks in the qi refining stage. Observing it will improve their strength to a certain extent. Chen Feng snorted coldly when he saw this, and then followed him. After arriving at the competition stage, Lu Juyuan used a little force and his whole body floated into the competition stage, and then looked at Chen Feng. Chen Feng did not hesitate. In the current situation, he had to kill Lu Juyuan, otherwise he would be sorry for the dead members of the Chen family. At this time, many guests had gathered under the competition stage, but at this moment, the house slave at the door shouted excitedly. Princess Li Qingping came to congratulate the Lu family on entering the house, and presented a Yuanwu token as a gift. Hearing this voice, the guests present looked at the door in shock. Most of them knew the identity of the princess, who was King Li's favorite daughter. But what shocked them even more was the Yuanwu token given by the princess. You must know that getting the Yuanwu token means becoming the most distinguished guest of Yuanwu Kingdom. As long as you show the Yuanwu token in the territory of Yuanwu Kingdom, with Wuling Pai, most problems can be easily solved. And soon, the veiled Li Qingping came to the competition stage, saw Lu Juyuan on the competition stage, smiled slightly and said, Master Lu, it seems I haven't missed a good show yet. Qingping, if you want to see it, be careful next time. Lu Juyuan smiled, then looked at Chen Feng opposite and said, Come here now, otherwise I'm afraid you won't have a chance to take action. Lu Juyuan, how dare you underestimate me? Look after me. Chen Feng said angrily, and then rushed towards Lu Juyuan. The terrifying speed even caused the qi refining stage monks below to see only an afterimage. However, in Lu Juyuan's eyes, Chen Feng's speed was almost the same as his own, or even a little slower. In just the blink of an eye, Chen Feng's fist, mixed with a trace of lightning, struck towards Lu Juyuan. It's the yellow-grade low-grade martial arts Ben Lei fist. It's said that even a 10-meter thick stone can be shattered with one full punch. After seeing this move, Li Shuquan couldn't help but worry about Lu Juyuan, as did Quan Lei and others. Only Lu Zan and Li Qingping had no fear on their faces. They believed in Lu Juyuan's strength. Just when Chen Feng's fist was about to hit Lu Juyuan calmly stretched out his hand and directly caught the thunder fist with great force. The scene was immediately silent, and a moment later a thunderous roar erupted. Oh my god, am I reading that right? Young Master Lu is actually so powerful. He blocked the thunder fist with just one hand. And it doesn't look like it's the limit. Hey, can someone pinch me? I feel like I'm dreaming. This is too unscientific. It makes Chen Feng look like he is in his qi refining period. The guests in the audience said with disbelief on their faces, and the heads of the 4 gold core families almost had their eyes popped out. Little friend Lu is indeed born with supernatural powers. Li Shuquan thought for a long time before he could find a word to describe it, but Quan Lei and others could only say one sentence abruptly. NB. As expected of Mr. Lu, he is indeed extraordinary. Li Qingping looked at Lu Juyuan on the competition stage and said with a smile, and Lu Zan also praised him. As expected of me, he is a member of the Lu family. He is so powerful. At this time, Chen Feng was also shocked by Lu Juyuan's strength and said in disbelief. How is it possible? It's absolutely false. It's absolutely false. Have you finished the fight? After the fight, it's my turn. Lu Juyuan looked at Chen Feng with a smile. Chen Feng suddenly felt uneasy in his heart, and then he broke away from Lu Juyuan's fist and retreated into the distance. Thunder technique. Chen Feng shouted loudly, and then he cast a spell to make a small part of the clouds above the Lu family's sky darken, and within a few seconds, lightning as thick as a finger emerged from it. At this time, Lu Juyuan also gave his own response. If I'm going to deal with you, I'd better use this trick, the fireball technique. As the most basic spell in cultivating immortals, the power of fireball depends largely on the user's spiritual power. However, in later realms, fireball has been abandoned because there are other more terrifying powers. Magic. But the most suitable technique at the moment is the fireball technique. Lu Juyuan raised his hands high, and in just the blink of an eye, a small fireball appeared in his palms. As he continued to inject spiritual power, the size of the fireball also increased. The terrifying speed visible to the naked eye increased, and in just a few seconds it became the size of a head. At this moment, there was a roar from the sky. Chen Feng's thunderbolt technique charges much faster than the fireball technique. Now Lu Xiaoyu is in danger. Li Shuquan couldn't help but feel worried when he saw this scene. The other 3 gold core family heads also became nervous, but Lu Zan and Li Qingping were not too worried. Just because they believed that Lu Juyuan would choose to use the fireball technique even though he knew that the thunderbolt technique could charge energy faster than the fireball technique. They were afraid that Lu Juyuan was prepared. Facing the thunder and lightning that fell at this time, Lu Juyuan showed no fear in his eyes. He looked at Chen Feng as if he were looking at a dead person. At this time, Chen Feng also knew that he had to take the lead, because he felt a considerable threat in the fireball. Fall. In an instant, a 2-finger-thick thunderbolt fell directly towards Lu Juyuan's position. Even mortals could not look directly at the bright light emitted by the lightning, and only monks in the qi refining stage could barely look at it. They saw thunder and lightning directly hitting Lu Juyuan's body. They couldn't help but froze in place when they saw this scene. They thought Lu Juyuan would avoid it, but they thought that Lu Juyuan actually chose to resist directly. You must know that this is the full strength of the foundation establishment stage. Hit it. But what they saw after the thunder and lightning dissipated shocked them even more. What? Young Master Lu resisted a single blow during the foundation building stage and was unscathed. Oh my god, if I go up there, I will definitely die under this blow. Hiss, I unilaterally declare from now on that young Master Lu is our most powerful genius in Qingfeng Town. After seeing that Lu Juyuan was unharmed, Li Shuquan breathed a sigh of relief. If something went wrong with Lu Juyuan, he couldn't guarantee whether Lu Zan would vent his anger on him. But when he reacted, he quickly noticed the invisible barrier flashing across Lu Juyuan's body. That's a spiritual energy barrier that can only be used in the foundation building stage. Lu Xiaoyu can actually display it in the refining stage. It's so terrifying. Tisk, 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 compared to this, the one in my house feels like trash. Quan Lei stood aside, looking at Lu Juyuan with envy in his eyes. Why didn't his family have such a terrifying talent? Peng Yuyan, on the other hand, stood beside Peng Xian and explained. Peng Xian's face turned red with embarrassment, but she still nodded. Young Master Lu is really terrifying. He can actually use the methods that can only be used in the foundation building stage during the qi refining stage. Li Qingping sat in her seat, watching this scene and couldn't help but sigh. After all, she is also at the peak of qi refining, but if she were to take the position, she might not be Chen Feng's opponent. Lu Zon's face was full of pride, and the smile on his lips was almost reaching the back of his head. Judging from today's battle, Lu Juyuan's talent was much more terrifying than he imagined. Chen Feng's eyes nearly popped out when he saw this scene, with an expression of disbelief on his face. Lu Juyuan's power had exceeded his imagination. How could anyone in the qi refining stage block the full strength of the foundation establishment stage? Hitting. How is this possible? How is this possible? How could you possibly stop it? I'm sorry, I have no obligation to explain this to you. Now, it's the time of judgment. Go ahead, blazing fireball. Lu Juyuan sneered, and then threw the fireball with a radius of 1 meter in his hand. The terrifying high temperature even caused the space above the ring to distort slightly. Not good. Seeing this scene, Chen Feng screamed in his heart that he must avoid it, otherwise he had a premonition that he would definitely die from this blow. Just when the fireball was about to hit Chen Feng at a terrifying speed, Chen Feng narrowly dodged it again. After dodging, Chen Feng breathed a sigh of relief, then looked at Lu Juyuan and sneered. Lu Juyuan, your attack doesn't look very good. Oh, are you sure? Lu Juyuan said with a half smile. This smile made Chen Feng feel a great uneasiness in his heart. In addition, there was a burst of heat behind him. He quickly turned around and saw that the huge fireball had come behind him. It was too late to dodge. In an instant, Chen Feng was directly enveloped by the huge fireball. He tried to open the aura shield but was unable to block it. Soon, a heartbreaking scream came from the flames. However, he couldn't scream for long, as Chen Feng was soon burned by the fireball, leaving only a pile of debris. Hey, my god, Mr. Lu has improved the fireball technique. If there are no accidents, it should be. The tracking function is added to the fireball technique. How did Mr. Lu do it? The guests in the audience once again made a sound of shock, and when the 4 gold core family heads saw this scene, they couldn't help but praise Lu Juyuan for being such a genius, who could actually improve the fireball technique during the qi refining stage. But if they knew that Lu Juyuan created his own martial arts when he was still immortal, they would be even more shocked. Ha ha ha, good, you are worthy of being the young master of my Lu family. Lu Zon stood up and laughed, and the Chen family members who were brought not far away couldn't help crying when they saw Chen Feng's sacrifice. Young master, it's just a pity that Lu Juyuan is not a kind-hearted person. Facing the Chen family, Lu Juyuan just said lightly. Grandpa, send them on their way. Did you hear that? Take them down, kill them all, and spread their ashes for me. Lu Zon looked at the family slaves aside and ordered, everyone in the Chen family has taken Shaolingsen, and even mortals can easily kill them. Yes, head of the family. As everyone in the Chen family was taken away, Lu Juyuan looked at the guests and said with a smile. Dear guests, I'm sorry to interrupt your meal. Now go back to your meal. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, all the guests present returned to the dining table obediently. At this time, Li Qingping also came to Lu Juyuan and said sincerely. Sometimes I am also curious, Mr. Lu, what kind of freak are you? You created your own martial arts with a mortal body, broke through to the 12th level of the body forging state with a body with no talent, and now you can instantly kill the foundation level with your peak qi refining. Quote. Qingping, don't worry too much. Aren't we friends? Besides, I'm also very curious about what kind of freak I am, and I'm still looking for the answer to this question. But a lot of questions don't have to have answers, right? Lu Juyuan smiled and excused himself. Yes, but fortunately, Mr. Lu and I are good friends. Otherwise, if I had an enemy like you, I would be worried all day long. Li Qingping teased, causing Lu Juyuan to shake his head helplessly. Let's go eat first, I'm a little hungry too. At the banquet, Lu Zon arranged a special table for Li Qingping and Lu Juyuan, but no one dared to disturb them. One was the grandson of the powerful nascent soul, and the other was King Li's most beloved daughter. No matter who they were, they can't afford to offend. By the way, I'm very curious, why did the Chen family attack your Lu family that day? During the meal, Li Qingping asked curiously. It was not a strange thing anyway. Lu Juyuan did not hide it and said with a sad face. In the final analysis, this matter is still because of me. My talent aroused the fear of the Chen family, and the Chen family had some grudges against my Lu family, so they chose to take action first. In addition, my Lu family there was no defense, so the Chen family succeeded. Back then, Lu Juyuan broke through to the middle stage of foundation building at the age of 20. If nothing unexpected happened, he would be able to break through to the gold core stage before he turned 60. By then, the Lu family would be a double gold core. The Chen family had some grudges with the Lu family, so they chose to take action. However, before taking action, the Chen family tried to win over other families, but unexpectedly they were all rejected. Because they have no grudges with the Lu family, there is no need to take this risk. If one person is escaped by the Lu family, they will be given 30 years in Hedong and 30 years in Hexi later. In desperation, the Chen family could only work alone, but they did not expect that Lu Juyuan would appear, otherwise the Lu family would really have no hope of revenge. Although it's a pity, it has happened. I still hope you can come out of it as soon as possible. Li Qingping comforted, while Lu Juyuan said with a bitter smile. I gave up a long time ago, and now it's just a short separation. When I take time to break through to the realm where I can control time, I might be able to resurrect them. Hearing this, when Li Qingping was about to say something, a terrifying pressure suddenly fell on the Lu family. What? A strong man is coming. Lu Zan opened his eyes and said in disbelief, and at this moment a figure appeared next to Li Qingping. Uncle Chen, why are you here? After seeing the figure of the other party, Li Qingping said with some surprise, and Uncle Chen was the guest Qing that Li Xuanren arranged to come to protect Li Qingping. Sixth princess, it's too late to explain, come with me quickly. Uncle Chen said solemnly, but before Li Qingping could even react, a terrifying figure appeared in the sky above the Lu family. Sorry, no one can leave today. The person who came was none other than the great elder of the Yumo sect, known in the world as the King of Thousand Ghosts. Feeling the majestic demon Dao aura from the Thousand Ghost King, Uncle Chen couldn't help but look ugly. Obviously, he didn't expect that the Demon King would actually send a big killer weapon in the middle stage of transcending tribulation. You must know that he is only at the peak of fusion. That's all. King of Thousand Ghosts, I didn't expect that Yumo sect would actually send you here. Is it possible that your move will lead to a complete war between Yuanwu Kingdom and Yumo sect? Uncle Chen said with an ugly face. The secret company had already sent a message to King Li. Naturally, such a small move could not be hidden from the King of Thousand Ghosts. The King of Thousand Ghosts snorted coldly and directly waved a palm print with his backhand towards Uncle Chen. Uncle Chen didn't dare to slack off when he saw this, and he quickly used all his strength to resist the palm, but he was still knocked out directly and almost died on the spot. Uncle Chen. Upon seeing this, Li Qingping came to Uncle Chen anxiously and helped him up, while Uncle Chen said decisively. Sixth princess, I will use all my strength to stop the Thousand Ghost King later, and you can escape as soon as possible. Li Qingping's face turned bitter after hearing this. Uncle Chen, this Thousand Ghost King is a powerful person in the middle stage of transcending tribulation. How can I escape from his grasp in my short period of refining? At the same time, Li Xuanren, who was in the Yuanwu Kingdom, had received the news from Uncle Chen, and a burst of anger suddenly broke out. You Demon King, if anything happens to my daughter, I will have everyone from your demon sect bury my daughter with her. People in the entire country felt Li Xuanren's anger, and were trembling with fear. Without hesitation, Li Xuanren burst out and rushed towards Qingfeng town as fast as he could, hoping that he could get there faster, and maybe there would be another chance. A little chance. The Thousand Ghost King on the other side was not anxious at all when he saw this scene. After all, he had already investigated clearly. Li Xuanren was in seclusion at this time. Even if he came out of seclusion now, it would still take him half an hour to get here at Li Xuanren's speed. This time is enough for you to finish killing everyone here and leave. Boy, it's you actually dare to refuse our sect leader's invitation. Don't you know how powerful our Yumo sect is? Facing the provocation of the Thousand Ghost King, Lu Juyuan remained calm on the surface, but he was already panicking inside. Where is his backer? Why hasn't he come yet? If he doesn't come, he will really die. In order to maintain the majesty of the young master of the Lu family, Lu Juyuan was not afraid at all and sneered, "What's wrong with me refusing to allow you to visit the demon sect? All the monks in the world know that you roam the demon sect, burn, kill, loot and do whatever you want, and everyone will be able to punish you. Sooner or later, one day your wandering demon sect will definitely be destroyed." Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Thousand Ghost King couldn't help but show a hint of surprise on his face. Does this kid not know the horror of the power of the transcending tribulation stage? After the Qi refining stage monks present heard Lu Juyuan's words, their emotions were stirred up. They also knew that according to the methods of the Yumo sect, they would most likely die today. And Qingfeng town will obviously be destroyed directly by the Thousand Ghost King, so it is better to insult the Thousand Ghost King before dying. Thinking of this, the Qi refining stage monks who were present all resisted the terrifying pressure of the Thousand Ghost King and began to insult the Thousand Ghost King. HMPH, what kind of hero are you, King of Thousand Ghosts? You have the ability to challenge me to a duel at the same level as me. Let's see if I can beat the shit out of you, Grandpa. Why, the Thousand Ghost King wears such a terrifying mask? Is it because the face behind the mask is even uglier? It doesn't matter if you kill us, King of Thousand Ghosts. If you kill us, there will still be thousands of us. Faced with the provocation of a group of ants, the Thousand Ghost King was obviously angry at this time. He had never been insulted by ants of this level, but every monk who saw him was trembling with fear. And his mask is even more painful for him. When he was still in the soul formation stage, he was injured by a powerful person in the void refining stage. After breaking through to the fusion stage, the Thousand Ghost King chose to cut the opponent into pieces with 1,000 swords. Light sky lanterns. This scar was left by the King of Thousand Ghosts as a warning to himself not to be bullied by others again. Now that it was mentioned again, he was naturally very angry. Uncle Chen, who was in the distance, couldn't help but look ugly when he saw this scene. He was stalling for time. Why did he anger the King of Thousand Ghosts? Seeing that the King of Thousand Ghosts was about to take action, Uncle Chen knew that he might be in trouble now. I saw the Thousand Ghost King condensing a huge palm print, the power of which made the monks present feel despair. Although Lu Juyuan was a little scared, the expression on his face was still calm and calm. And at this life and death moment, a pressure more terrifying than the Thousand Ghost King was exerted on the Thousand Ghost King, followed by a faint voice. Who is bullying my descendants, Lu Changsheng? How is it possible? How could such a powerful being pass by here? Sir, there may be some misunderstanding between us. The King of Thousand Ghosts was trembling with fear at this time. This pressure far exceeded that of the Wandering Demon King, which meant that the person in front of him was at least a Mahayana stage presence. You must know that this is the Mahayana stage, and you can instantly kill a trash like him with one hand. In front of the Thousand Ghost King, a thin figure appeared in front of everyone. He looked non-threatening, even a little weak, but the Thousand Ghost King knew how powerful the person in front of him was. After hearing Lu Changsheng's name, Lu Zan raised his head in shock and finally got a clear look at his face, which was full of surprise. You are, Grandpa Lu Changsheng. After hearing Lu Zan's voice, Lu Changsheng lowered his head and saw Lu Zan. His face was full of nostalgia, and he didn't know what he was thinking. You are Xiaoxuanzi, I remember I hugged you before. You are indeed Grandpa Changsheng. After Lu Zan heard Lu Changsheng's words, he immediately shed 2 lines of tears, while the Thousand Ghost King opposite him immediately screamed inwardly after hearing these words, and then prepared to run away. But it was obvious that Lu Changsheng had figured out his plan, and Lu Changsheng sighed softly. Immortal binding. Then with a snap of his fingers, a beam of light shot out from his fingertips. The Thousand Ghost King was hit before he even had time to react. In an instant, he was directly tied up by 2 rays of light, unable to move at all. Before anyone could even react, the Thousand Ghost King, who was extremely arrogant before, was so easily subdued. Tongzi is indeed awesome for giving me such a strong background. Seeing Lu Changsheng in the sky, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but think. At this time, Lu Changsheng also slowly flew above the Lu family. Seeing this, Lu Zan quickly came to Lu Changsheng and said respectfully. Lu Zan, a descendant of the Lu family, pays homage to the ancestor of immortality. Xiao Xuanzi, there is no need for so many polite things between you and me. Lu Changsheng shook his head, waved his hand and helped Lu Zan up. Then Lu Changsheng seemed to feel something, and his face couldn't help but become angry. What happened to our Lu family? Obviously, when Lu Changsheng opened his spiritual consciousness just now, he discovered that only Lu Zan and one boy in the Lu family have Lu family blood, and the rest have no connection with the Lu family. After hearing Lu Changsheng's words, Lu Zan cried with grief on his face. Ancestor, I am unfilial. I failed to maintain the prosperity of the Lu family and allowed evil people to take the opportunity to destroy my Lu family. After hearing Lu Zan's words, Lu Changsheng closed his eyes, wondering what he was thinking. After a moment, he opened his eyes and looked at Lu Juyuan aside. Boy, are you a descendant of my Lu family? Hearing this, Lu Juyuan was excited, but he also walked up with a trace of heaviness on his face. Ancestor immortal, I am Grandpa Lu Zan's grandson, Lu Juyuan. Okay, as long as one person from my Lu family is still alive, then the bloodline of my Lu family will not be completely severed. Hearing that there was still one person in the Lu family alive, the grief in Lu Changsheng's heart eased a lot, and he murmured. I left the Lu family hundreds of years ago to find the opportunity to become an immortal. I went through all kinds of hardships to achieve the position of Mahayana. But I didn't expect that time has changed and my Lu family has also disappeared. But now that I have returned, then it's time for the Lu family to return to its former glory. Lu Changsheng's words were heard by the guests present, and they were all shocked for a moment. The Lu family actually has such a terrifying background, monk Mahayana. You must know that even Yuanwu Kingdom has absolutely no chance of facing a monk Mahayana. It's possible to win. On the other side, the Thousand Ghost King cursed the Demon King in his heart after hearing Lu Changsheng's words. Is this the Lu family that you said has no background? Senior, spare my life, I am willing to become a slave of the Lu family. The Thousand Ghost King kept begging for mercy. Faced with the Thousand Ghost King's begging for mercy, Lu Changsheng was indifferent. He was thinking about killing the Thousand Ghost King with one palm, but at this time Lu Juyuan stepped forward. Ancestor, keep someone under your command. Seeing Lu Juyuan stand up, the power in Lu Changsheng's hand also disappeared, and he asked with interest. Oh, do you have any ideas? Lu Juyuan stood up, and the Thousand Ghost King became excited. Was he about to be rescued? Ahem, ancestor, I still lack guards here. Why don't you give me these Thousand Ghost Kings as guards? Lu Juyuan said with some embarrassment that he didn't have any strong guards here yet, so he couldn't let the two ancestors follow him out all the time. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Lu Changsheng also began to think about whether it was feasible, and the Thousand Ghost King quickly begged for mercy. Sir, I am willing to be the young master's guard. Forget it, if that's the case, then you will make an oath to heaven that you will never betray our Lu family for eternity. After Lu Changsheng thought for a moment, he agreed. After all, the Lu family is indeed short of available people now, so it can be regarded as giving the Thousand Ghost King a chance. After hearing the Heavenly Tao Oath, a trace of hesitation appeared on the Thousand Ghost King's face. After all, taking the Heavenly Tao Oath was equivalent to putting his life in the hands of the Lu family. Of course, if one day the Thousand Ghost King can break through to the immortal sovereign state that ignores the law of heaven, then the oath of heaven will naturally be invalid. Seeing the hesitation of the Thousand Ghost King, Lu Changsheng snorted coldly. It seems that you are still not happy. If that's the case, then go die. Feeling the terrifying murderous intent in Lu Changsheng, the Thousand Ghost King could still control so much at this time, so he quickly made an oath of heaven. As a low roar came from the void, this meant that this oath was over. It was recognized by heaven. If you dare to disobey it, you will be killed by the 9 heavens thunder tribulation. With the approval of the Heavenly Tao Oath, the Thousand Ghost King came to Lu Changsheng and bowed respectfully. Meet the master. Well, from today onwards, you should focus on protecting me, the young master of the Lu family, Lu Juyuan. I didn't expect that the Lu family actually had such a terrifying background, and even Mahayana existed. Uncle Chen, who was lying on the ground, looked shocked when he saw this scene and said that this background has far exceeded that of Yuanwu Kingdom. Li Qingping breathed a sigh of relief after seeing this scene, but there was a trace of curiosity in her eyes. The Lu family had never heard of such a terrifying background. The guests present were even more shocked, but Li Shuquan was so happy that he was speechless. The Lu family still owes him 2 opportunities to take action, and now the Lu family has become a more powerful family than the Yuanwu kingdom. Does this mean that the Li family will prosper from now on? At this moment, an angry voice came from afar. You fools from the demon sect, if you dare to hurt my daughter, I will definitely start an all-out war with you from the demon sect. Until death. Before everyone could react, they saw King Li, who had just appeared some time ago, appear in the sky above the Lu family, his face full of anger. But just when King Li was wondering where the Thousand Ghost King was, a strange expression appeared on his face. Your Majesty, come down first. The problem of the Thousand Ghost King has been solved. Seeing Li Xuanren appear, Uncle Chen quickly sent a message to Li Xuanren. Coupled with the expressions of the guests below, he intuitively told Li Xuanren that something was wrong. Let's go down and take a look first. Immediately, Li Xuanren came to Li Qingping to check on Li Qingping's condition. After discovering that his daughter was fine, Li Xuanren breathed a sigh of relief, and then looked to Uncle Chen aside and asked about the previous situation. After hearing Uncle Chen's words, Li Xuanren's face was full of disbelief and he said solemnly, Chen Keqing, do you really mean what you said? Your Majesty, I definitely don't dare to joke about this kind of thing, and isn't the King of Thousand Ghosts right there? Uncle Chen smiled bitterly, although he felt that this matter was not true. In fact, it was like this. Li Xuanren turned around and saw that the one who was following Lu Juyuan respectfully was not the King of Thousand Ghosts. After seeing this scene, Li Xuanren took a deep breath. It seems that the attitude towards the Lu family needs to change. Isn't today the day when the Lu family enters the house? Then I will prepare a big gift for the Lu family. After that, Li Xuanren started rummaging through the storage ring. Lu Chengsheng on the other side just glanced at Li Xuanren and didn't say anything. Dear guests, the matter has been dealt with. Please continue to enjoy your meal. Lu Zan stood up and waved his hands and said, and soon the atmosphere at the scene reached its peak. After all, they had never seen monks above the Mahayana stage, and they could eat in the Mahayana stage family. This kind of thing could be blown away. A lifetime. You have a good background. Lu Chengsheng walked up to Lu Juyuan and explored Lu Juyuan's background. He said with some satisfaction that he was indeed the genius of their Lu family. This kind of background was extremely rare even 1,000 years ago. Thank you for the compliment, ancestor. Lu Juyuan thanked him in a neither humble nor overbearing manner, and at this moment Li Xuanren walked up to the 2 of them. Meet Senior Lu. The immortal cultivation world emphasizes that masters come first. Even if the other person is younger than you, as long as his cultivation is higher than yours, he will be called a senior. Get up, you should be Li Xuanren, the emperor of Yuanwu Kingdom. Lu Chengsheng said nonchalantly that his realm was a whole realm higher than Li Xuanren's. Under the crushing force of a realm, Li Xuanren would not be Lu Chengsheng's opponent even if he tried his best. Exactly, the Lu family is entering the house today, so I specially offered a heavy gift and asked Senior to accept it. After saying that, Li Xuanren took out a storage ring and handed it to Lu Chengsheng respectfully. After taking it, Lu Chengsheng scanned the contents with his consciousness, and his expression became a little surprised. I didn't expect that you would have such a thing in your hand, but you do have a lot of intention. Lu Chengsheng said calmly, which can be regarded as accepting this love. Well, since Senior has accepted it, I will leave first. After all, I have other things to be busy with recently. After Li Xuanren said that, he was about to leave, but Lu Chengsheng stopped him, and then pointed his finger down before Li Xuanren could react. This is a little insight into the Mahayana stage, which should help you break through to the Mahayana stage. Lu Chengsheng gave Li Xuanren a little insight into the Mahayana stage, because he could see that Li Xuanren was already at the peak of the transcending tribulation stage and was only one step away from breaking through to the Mahayana stage. This Mahayana stage perception is undoubtedly a timely help for Li Xuanren. Thank you, Senior, for your help. If Senior has any need in the future, Junior will do his best. Li Xuanren said with excitement, and after that, he set off and flew back to the imperial capital of Yuanwu Kingdom. This little help from Lu Changsheng would allow him to break through to the Mahayana stage within a year. Mr. Lu, I didn't expect that your Lu family has such a terrifying background. Now I, Li Qingping, need to rely on you, Mr. Lu, for support. Walking to Lu Juyuan's side, Li Qingping said somewhat sourly, while Lu Juyuan said with a smile. Qingping, aren't we friends? Real friends don't care about each other's background. Hearing this, Li Qingping also smiled. Yes, true friends don't care about each other's background. Seeing Lu Juyuan with Li Qingping next to him, Peng Yuyan suddenly felt that something was going to happen to his granddaughter. Although Peng Zian was called the most beautiful woman in Qingfeng town, she was nothing compared to Li Qingping. Oh, granddaughter, let's forget it. Lu Juyuan is not something we can control. Peng Yuyan walked to Peng Zian, who looked disappointed, and comforted her. Peng Zian just sighed and said nothing more. The day passed quickly. After all the guests left, the three people of the Lu family gathered together to discuss the current situation of the Lu family. The most important thing now is that our Lu family can spread its branches as soon as possible, so Juyuan, I will leave this matter to you. Lu Zan said seriously, then looked at Lu Juyuan, and Lu Changsheng also looked at Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan's heart trembled as he was stared at by the two people, but he still said seriously. Grandpa, ancestor, I don't think this matter is urgent. After all, one of you is at the nascent soul stage, the other is at the Mahayana stage. Shou Yuan can be called an old monster, and even if you want to have children, it is not now. Just do it. Hearing this, Lu Zan said without argument, you're talking lightly, there are only 3 of us in the Mahayana family, so it won't sound good if we say this. Xiao Xuanzi's words make sense, and for a family as big as ours, it's time to expand a bit. Lu Changsheng sat aside and nodded. Facing the 2 backers pressing closer and closer, Lu Juyuan could only smile bitterly and said, 2 ancestors, this matter is really not urgent, and I feel that if I get married too early, it may affect my subsequent cultivation progress. Lu Juyuan had already adopted the practice of cultivation. What else could Lu Zan and Lu Changsheng do? They could only agree, but they also gave Lu Juyuan a requirement, that is, they must get married and start a business within 100 years. Seeing Lu Juyuan running away, Lu Zan and Lu Changsheng shook their heads helplessly. I think Li Qingping's little girl also has feelings for Juyuan, so we can make a match then. Lu Zan thought of something and suggested, and Lu Changsheng nodded when he heard the words. That little girl today, she is worthy of our Juyuan. Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know that the 2 ancestors had already found a partner for him, so he fled back to his room like a fire. Then I thought of the 100-year agreement between myself and my ancestor. I am afraid that my background will be invincible in 100 years. On the next day, Lu Juyuan fulfilled his promise and saw that he gathered hundreds of domestic slaves, and these domestic slaves learned yesterday that they were joining a Mahayana family. You must know that they are the Mahayana family, a more terrifying existence than the Yuanwu kingdom. My young master promised before that I would make you all become immortal cultivators, so today is the time for my young master to fulfill his promise. Lu Juyuan stood in front of them and said calmly. As soon as he said this, the slaves below couldn't help but get excited. Becoming immortal cultivators meant that they would no longer be mortals in the future. Seeing the excited expressions on their faces, Lu Juyuan felt satisfied in his heart. Only in this way would they work harder for the Lu family, even though it was of no use to the Lu family. In the distance, Lu Zan and Lu Changsheng watched this scene without changing their expressions. Since Lu Juyuan wanted to play, let him do it. They didn't care about this little resource. Lu Juyuan clapped his hands, and the next second 2 slaves came up carrying 2 stones, which were the qualification testing stone and the physical fitness testing stone. These 2 stones are used to test your aptitude for cultivating immortals and your special physique respectively. Now all of you line up and come up to test them one by one. As Lu Juyuan finished speaking, the domestic slaves present quickly lined up and prepared to start testing their qualifications. The first domestic slave who tested was obviously still a little nervous, fearing that he would not be able to detect his qualifications. After receiving encouragement from Lu Juyuan, he pressed his hand on the testing stone. I saw the detection stone vibrating, and soon the words, middle grade, appeared. After seeing this scene, the other party breathed a sigh of relief. Although he was a little disappointed, he could finally enter the path of immortality. As the number of people tested increased, Lu Juyuan actually discovered that the domestic slaves basically had the qualifications to become immortals. You must know that not everyone can become immortals. Originally, Lu Juyuan had planned that not many people could become immortals. But after thinking about it carefully, I realized that my luck was incredible. If they could join the Lu family, their luck would naturally not be much lower. It was normal to have some aptitude for cultivating immortals. At this moment, there was a vibration in the qualification testing stone, and soon a dazzling light burst out from it. This is an immortal level talent. Seeing the birth of the immortal level talent, Lu Xuandu couldn't calm down for a moment. You must know that even he is only at the peak of the Zan level, and the immortal level talent can be taken under the command of all the top forces. When Lu Chengsheng saw this scene, he took action to cover up the situation here without any surprise. Otherwise, I'm afraid someone would come to the door soon. Fortunately, Lu Chengsheng took action in time and such news was not spread. And the girl who detected the immortal talent was stunned on the spot, her whole head was buzzing, have I awakened the immortal talent? But before she could react, Lu Chengsheng appeared in front of her. Greetings to the ancestor. After seeing Lu Chengsheng, the girl quickly bowed, and Lu Chengsheng waved his hand to help her up. What's your name and where you come from? After hearing what Lu Chengsheng said, the girl said quickly. Ancestor, my daughter's name is Qin Yushuang, and she is an orphan. At this point, the expression on Qin Yushuang's face became a little bitter, but Lu Chengsheng did not pay so much attention to it, but said to himself. Now I want to add you to my Lu family. How about changing your name to Lu Yushuang from now on? After hearing Lu Chengsheng's words, all the domestic slaves present became envious. Joining the Lu family meant that Qin Yushuang would not be on the same level as them from now on. After Qin Yushuang heard this, he was stunned on the spot, but soon agreed with joy. Ancestor, I am willing. Well, from today on, you will be called Lu Yushuang, and you are a member of my Lu family. After hearing this, Lu Chengsheng said with satisfaction that for a genius with immortal level talent, if nothing unexpected happens, becoming a transcending tribulation stage would not be a big problem. In addition, Qin Yushuang is an orphan, so this is even more appropriate. Lu Juyuan, who was standing aside, didn't feel too jealous or felt unfair after hearing his ancestor's words. After all, he still had cheats on his body, so he didn't feel envious of others. Thank you, ancestor, for giving me your surname. Lu Yushuang said with excitement. Joining the Lu family means that she no longer has to run around in the future. Although she has detected immortal talent, there is a Mahayana monk in the Lu family, so joining the Lu family does not mean she has wronged herself. Well, since you are a member of my Lu family, then come with me. After Lu Chengsheng said that, he took Lu Yushuang away from here. After all, as a member of the Lu family, he must have some special treatment of his own. Continue now. Seeing the envious expressions on their faces, Lu Juyuan smiled and shook his head and said, the test continued, but there was no immortal level talent later, which surpassed the heaven level talent. After the qualification test, the physical fitness must be checked, and this check is extremely important. I have awakened the heavenly body of the Vajra body. A strong man said with excitement, and soon, Lu Chengsheng came out again and invited the other person to join the Lu family. Unsurprisingly, the other person was an orphan named Cheng Guan, who later changed his name to Lu Guan. But geniuses are in the minority after all, and no amazing physiques appear next. At most, they are just Earth-level physiques. After the test is completed, you need to start soaking in the body-forging liquid to break through the body-forging state. Lu Juyuan waved his hand again, and soon 4 slaves came to the square carrying a big wooden basin. Lu Juyuan calmly came to the edge of the big basin and threw various help into it. The treasures of heaven and earth to enter the body-forging realm. These domestic slaves were born into extreme poverty. They had never even entered the physical training state, let alone the qi refining stage. Lu Juyuan was naturally not stingy. He could use Zan-level genius treasures on a group of domestic slaves. It was considered very good to know that ordinary people could use Huang-level bodybuilding fluids. Although they didn't know what Xuanji bodybuilding liquid was, they also knew how much the young master had paid for them. They all made up their minds and would definitely do everything for the young master. As Lu Juyuan threw all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures into the wooden basin, a pot of steaming bodybuilding liquid was soon poured out by Lu Juyuan. "Everyone, go in." Lu Juyuan looked at them and said, while all the slaves looked at the steaming bodybuilding fluid and took a deep breath. "Ollie guys." After saying that, they poured directly into the bodybuilding liquid, and the violent energy in the bodybuilding liquid poured into their bodies along their pores. For a moment, huge pain surged into his brain, and bursts of screams came from the entire square. Lu Juyuan frowned slightly when he saw this scene. "Does it hurt? Why didn't I feel pain at first?" You must know that when he soaked in the bodybuilding fluid, he felt like he was soaking in a hot spring, but what Lu Juyuan would never have thought was that the reason why he did not feel pain was because of the blessing of heaven. As the domestic slaves continued to soak in the bodybuilding fluid, their realm began to break through at this time. The first and second levels of the body forging realm. After breaking through all the way to the 10th floor, only 2 or 3 broke through to the 11th floor, which was their peak. As they felt the pressure, they left the tub one by one. They shook their heads helplessly when they saw this, but they still took out a book of exercises that had been arranged long ago from the storage ring. This is the Evergreen Sutra of Xuanji Kung Fu. You only need to practice step by step to break through to the nascent soul stage. Lu Juyuan said seriously, after all, he got it from his ancestor and it is suitable for most monks to practice. This is why he gave it to his family slaves to practice. Cultivation not only depends on the grade of the technique, but more importantly, the talent of the cultivator. If you are not talented enough, even if you are given a God-level skill, it will be like a heavenly book in the eyes of the other party. You cannot understand it, you cannot understand it at all. And as they began to practice the Evergreen Sutra, in just a few minutes, some of the domestic slaves broke through to the chi refining stage, followed by the second and the third. In just 1 hour, they all broke through to the chi refining stage one after another. At first glance, it seemed that 50 people had broken through to the chi refining stage in just 1 hour. The remaining half of the expression was a bit depressed. Seeing this, Lu Juyuan comforted him. You should not rush into cultivating immortals. What matters is fate. When fate comes, you will naturally be able to achieve a breakthrough. So don't be anxious. Maybe you will achieve a breakthrough as soon as you wake up. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, they calmed down. Thank you, young master, for your guidance. We understand. It's good that you know. Go down and do what you should do. Lu Juyuan waved his hand and turned around to leave, but he received a message from Lu Zan's spiritual consciousness. Grandson, that little girl Li Qingping is here to see you. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan was a little curious. Li Qingping, a little girl, would not come to him easily on weekdays. Could it be that there was something important? Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan shook his head. He had to go and meet him no matter what. Miss, do you really want to invite Mr. Lu to go with you? In the Lu family hall, Li Qingping and Zhao King had been waiting here for a long time. Young Master Lu just hasn't broken through to the foundation building stage yet, so he can just enter that secret realm. Furthermore, young Master Lu's strength is unparalleled, so bringing him into the secret realm is a bit of a guarantee, isn't it? Li Qingping said with a smile. Zhao King thought about it, and then Lu Juyuan slowly walked in. I don't go to the Three Treasures Hall for anything. Qingping, do you have anything to do with me? Lu Juyuan said with a smile. Li Qingping smiled back, and then told her the purpose of his visit. Qingfeng's secret realm. Lu Juyuan said with some surprise. How come he hadn't heard of this secret realm in Qingfeng town for so long? Li Qingping quickly explained after seeing Lu Juyuan's expression. The reason why this secret realm is called Qingfeng secret realm is just because it is relatively close to Qingfeng town. After hearing this, Lu Juyuan suddenly realized something, and then he thought of something and became curious. What are the restrictions in this secret realm? Well, only monks whose cultivation is below the foundation building stage can enter, and the lowest level heavenly materials and earthly treasures inside are all yellow level, and there are even mysterious level heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Li Qingping said seriously, while Lu Juyuan shook his head. With your identity, these things are nothing in your eyes, so tell me your true purpose, otherwise I will not cooperate with you. After Li Qingping thought for a moment, she was about to speak out, but Zhao King stopped her when she saw this. Miss, do you really want to tell him that? Master Lu is a close friend of mine. I believe he won't do anything. Li Qingping shook her head and said it to Lu Juyuan. What Mr. Lu said is indeed correct, but they all think that the most precious among them are only the earth-level treasures of heaven and earth. Li Qingping looked around before speaking softly. If there are no mistakes, I am afraid that there is an immortal-level heavenly material and earthly treasure in it, glazed treasure liquid. After hearing about the immortal-level treasures of heaven and earth, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but become a little interested. Although he didn't know what the glazed treasure liquid was, he knew that every time an immortal-level heavenly material and earthly treasure was born, it would cause countless powerful people to fight, including those above the Mahayana stage. Li Qingping on the other side was still minding her own business. It is rumored that the glazed liquid is a supreme treasure that is enough to defying the heavens and changing fate. Its effect is to improve the qualifications for cultivating immortals. It has a great effect on the talents below the immortal level. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan understood Li Qingping's thoughts. He probably wanted to find Lu Li Baoye to improve his qualifications. After all, she was only a Huang-level talent. But how did you confirm this news? Lu Juyuan was a little curious. If even Li Qingping knew about it, why didn't other powerful people know about it? At this point, Li Qingping's expression became a little bitter. Young Master Lu is unaware of this. In fact, this news was known to everyone from the beginning. When the secret realm was first opened, someone discovered the existence of what seemed to be the glazed treasure liquid inside. It's just that the people who went in one after another didn't find the glazed liquid, and this news has become a rumor from now on. The Qingfeng secret realm has also become lonely after so many years of exploration, so there are many fewer monks coming to explore the Qingfeng secret realm. Li Qingping said seriously, while Lu Juyuan hurriedly stopped her. Wait a minute, after all, you're not sure there's glass treasure liquid in it. Well, but the matter of cultivating immortals is originally a matter of defying the heavens and changing fate. I went in this time just to find the glass treasure liquid and change my destiny. Li Qingping shook her head, and Lu Juyuan asked after pondering for a long time. How long will it take for Qingfeng's secret realm to open? Hearing this, Li Qingping said seriously. About 7 days. Lu Juyuan's expression became a little complicated after hearing this, but he agreed after a moment. If that's the case, then okay, I'll suppress it for the next 7 days. Lu Juyuan could actually feel that he could break through to the foundation building stage at any time, but since he could find the glazed liquid, it would be in vain if he didn't go there. Although he hasn't gone inside yet, Lu Juyuan should be sure that he can find the glazed liquid. After all, he still has a bug-like function. It would be impossible not to find the glazed liquid. In that case, I will come to the Lu family to find you in 7 days, and then we will go to Qingfeng's secret realm together. Li Qingping didn't know why when she heard this, she said happily in her heart. As Li Qingping left, Lu Zan and Lu Chengsheng appeared beside him. Juyuan, do you want to go to Qingfeng's secret realm? Lu Chengsheng said calmly, while Lu Juyuan became curious. Well, what's your advice, ancestor? No, it's just that there are high-level foundation building monsters in this Qingfeng secret realm, so you'd better be careful. Lu Chengsheng shook his head and reminded. Although monks in the foundation building stage cannot enter the Qingfeng secret realm, the monsters in it can break through to the foundation building stage, but cannot break through to the gold core stage. Once they break through to the gold core stage, they will be strangled by the power of the rules. The high-level foundation building period refers to the late stage and peak of foundation building. After hearing this, Lu Juyuan laughed. Ha ha ha, ancestor, why are we monks afraid of a battle? If we are too timid to fight, how can we stand in the heavens? Lu Juyuan's words couldn't help but make Lu Zan and Lu Chengsheng feel a rush of blood. Well, you are worthy of being the young master of my Lu family. This time, my Lu family is going to have a real dragon. And time flies by quickly, and 7 days are fleeting. In order to suppress his own cultivation, Lu Juyuan also learned several martial arts and immortal arts during this period to prevent him from being unable to defeat high-level foundation building monsters when he entered the secret realm. Senjutsu refers to attacks that are performed without weapons and directly consume spiritual power, while martial arts refers to attacks that inject spiritual power into weapons and are exerted through weapons. Although he can easily kill Chen Feng instantly, Chen Feng is a low-level foundation builder, and his strength cannot be compared with that of high-level foundation builders. On the morning of the 7th day, Li Qingping arrived at Lu's house early, and a moment later Lu Juyuan and Li Qingping met smoothly. Seeing Li Qingping take out the flying magic weapon, Lu Juyuan looked a little puzzled. The explanation given by Li Qingping was, Qingfeng's secret realm is far away from Qingfeng town. Even the monks at the soul formation stage need to fly for about a day. No need, Qinlao, take us to the Qingfeng secret realm. Lu Juyuan looked at the Thousand Ghost King who was following him without hesitation and said, the subordinates with the transcending tribulation stage are not in vain. Yes, young master, now that he has made an oath of heaven to submit to the Lu family, he has naturally done his duty as an old slave, and judging from the current situation, submitting to the Lu family does not seem to be a bad thing. I didn't expect this. Li Qingping froze in place after seeing this scene, and smiled bitterly after a moment. The speed of a transcending tribulation stage monk is definitely faster than the speed of a flying magic weapon. Of course, if they are at the same level, the speed of using a flying magic weapon will definitely be faster. And soon, the Thousand Ghost King quickly rushed towards the Qingfeng secret realm with Li Qingping and Lu Juyuan, but he suffered a lot from the late-stage combined guest Qing who secretly protected Li Qingping. After Uncle Chen was injured that day, Li Xuanren replaced a guest to protect Li Qingping. Is this the speed of the transcending tribulation stage? It's too fast. Looking down from the sky, Lu Juyuan couldn't see clearly what was below. The whole world disappeared in his eyes. This is normal. After all, monks in the soul formation stage can think 1,000 miles in a single step, let alone the transcending tribulation stage. That kind of powerful speed can only be described as 100,000 miles in one step. Li Qingping shook her head next to Lu Juyuan and said, after all, her father is Li Xuanren, so she naturally understands him very well. Is this like this? It seems that we will break through to the transcending tribulation stage as soon as possible. Lu Juyuan smiled and said, if you can't break through the transcending tribulation stage after 100 years of cheating, you might as well just die and lose the transmigrator's face. Li Qingping also smiled and said nothing. Maybe in her eyes, this sentence was just a joke. After all, who hasn't spent tens of thousands of years to break through to the transcending tribulation stage? And according to Li Qingping's knowledge, it seems that the entire Tianling province's once-in-a-million-year genius has spent hundreds of years to break through to the transcending tribulation stage. And it was pretty fast, but I don't know what the expression on her face would be like soon after seeing Lu Juyuan really break through to the transcending tribulation stage. In just a moment, the Thousand Ghost King slowed down. Young master, we are here. Lu Juyuan and Li Qingping looked around and saw that the surroundings were already crowded with people. After all, Qingfeng's secret realm was once famous for a while, but now even though it has declined, there are still many independent cultivators flocking here. That is the entrance to Qingfeng's secret realm, but it has not been opened yet. It looks like it will take another day. Li Qingping pointed to a large mountain in the distance, and saw a light curtain on top of the mountain, and there were several piles of powder on the other side of the light curtain. It seemed that there was a fool who wanted to force his way in, and then he was strangled. If the secret realm is not opened and you try to enter by force, you will be forcibly strangled by the power of the rules. Unless your cultivation is comparable to the way of heaven, you will definitely die. Go there and take a rest. Soon, Lu Juyuan saw a suitable place in the distance and immediately suggested. Li Qingping naturally had no objection, and the Thousand Ghost King was just a bodyguard, so what could he say? The group of people quickly arrived under the big tree and began to adjust on the spot. But soon, a fool will come looking for trouble. Young master, it seems that the secret realm has not been opened yet. Why don't we take a short rest before going in? Not far from Lu Juyuan and his party, there was a young man wearing gorgeous clothes, and beside him was an old slave with a plain appearance. After seeing the surrounding situation, the old slave suggested, Uncle Chen, just leave this matter to you. The young man said calmly, as if everything here had nothing to do with him. After hearing the young master's words, Uncle Chen began to look around and quickly found a suitable location. Young master, let's go. Uncle Chen came to the young man and said respectfully. After hearing this, the young man quickly followed Uncle Chen to the big tree. Unfortunately, this was where Lu Juyuan and the others were. Seeing that there was someone here, Uncle Chen raised his eyebrows slightly, then came to Lu Juyuan and others and said with his head held high. Boy, we've taken a liking to this location. I'll give you 100 low-grade spiritual stones. Please change the location. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan raised his brows slightly, and his expression couldn't help but become a little interested. He didn't expect that the bloody routine in the novel would happen to him. It's just that Lu Juyuan doesn't lack these spiritual stones at all. He still has 100,000 pieces of high-grade spiritual stones given to him by the ancestor of Changsheng. I'm curious, what will happen to you if I don't let you? Lu Juyuan asked curiously, and Li Qingping also cast the same look at this time. Noticing that the two people in front of him were only in the qi refining stage, as for the other one who had no aura of cultivation and was a proper mortal, Uncle Chen would naturally not be afraid of him, so he sneered. Boy, you'd better find out the details of the Yuan family in Panxi town. After saying that, Uncle Chen directly released the soul formation stage aura from his body. It was obvious that he wanted Lu Juyuan and Li Qingping to retreat, but he didn't expect that this time it would actually be mentioned on the steel plate. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but sneer. Uncle, I like to put together backgrounds the most.